Hello everyone, and welcome to PCCX, where we look to find the successor to Predecessor glory. I'm Dilo, your marquee of the Mini Prime. We have Choice Plays, the only choice for good Predecessor production. And join with me on the desk, I have Dirty Lake and A-Boy. It's Lakeinator, it's Toasty, lads, Destiny Bond versus the Shopkeepers. How we feeling?
I'm feeling good today. We'll see where things kick off. Like, this is all or nothing for everyone here today, so we'll see where things head to.
Uh-oh, Toasty, your voice has been robbed. Someone silenced you. They cast the gag grenade, and now, unfortunately, Toasty has been silenced until that wears off. This is truly tragic. While he hopefully gets back, you can see him screaming for help, trying to dive the back line, should not have done so. Maybe he should have popped Terrell ult first, as he's now just crashing out. Unfortunate. Well, while we wait for Toasty to get that audio Scrabble online, let's just talk about what the setting here is, guys. It's the final countdown for these LCQ players, as Lakeinator alluded to. 2 spots remain to advance, already having taken 2 by Enlightened and the Sixth Sense. And no one wants to miss their Swiss. The 4 teams that advance from LCQ will enter a Swiss bracket with the teams that did auto-qualify, such as D-Lab right here. And then, of those Swiss teams, 4 will advance to the grand stage for a chance to win 10,000, not yen, not ruples, like R-Dog made sure to mention. It's dollars! Dollars, yes. LCQ is, in a sense though, guys, its own ecosystem, right? And Lake, Toasty, you two operate in different niches as carry and support respectively. When team skill is not as high level, does that emphasis on certain roles change in comparison to high level play?
I would say the roles, yeah, it definitely changes what's more valuable depending on the skill level at hand. Like, some people will say maybe in a not so skillful lobby, maybe the carry role is more broken because they can just freely hold the left click and no one hits them. Whereas if in more competitively, the carries are usually getting dived and they have to position more cleanly. So it all depends.
Toasty, you there? This is truly tragic, unfortunate. Well, don't worry, Toasty. You get your time to shine. As seems to be that the beanie's constricting not only his head, but his voice as well. Hopefully, He'll be back in just a moment. But I absolutely agree with you, Lakener, and that does depend certainly when it comes to skill level. You oftentimes find that the meta itself is different depending on where players are ranking in those echelons. Hold on, Toasty, they hear giggle? Do my eyes and ears deceive me? We're back, baby. Toasty, how we doing?
There's some dark magic at work here. I fixed it, though.
Indeed. But you're back. That's what matters.
I'm
How you
back.
feeling, man?
Fantastic. Now. 30 seconds ago, not so much.
Well, we're glad to have you back here. So I'd like you to just commentate based on what my friend Lakener just was talking about here as far as how the meta operates within these different levels and tiers of play. Do you find yourself thinking that, maybe jungle will be what rises above today, or maybe supports? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I'm always gunning for supports to be the star of the show. Currently in the meta, probably not the case. ADCs seem to do like 80% of the damage in most team fights, at least at higher levels of play. Mid laners, it's all about the rotations, the tempo. So mid laners, ADCs do all the damage. Everyone else just kind of commits heinous acts to other people in the lanes. So, it's exciting stuff.
Indeed it is, and you know what's even more exciting than that? The P's and B's that we'll be getting into here, guys. Again, Shopkeepers up against Destiny Bond. Now, Shopkeepers are the favorite of this match. They did lose to Sixth Sense, who of course qualified for Swiss, so it's not like you went up against any slouching team. No, these are some pretty good fellas. Now, Destiny Bond, they did take an L to the bench. Are there any picks and bans just knowing these players that we maybe should be expecting for, hoping for, fearing for?
Knowing Destiny Bond a little bit, Zalti, he is a big Shimby enjoyer, so there may be some target on the Shimby, or maybe the other teams may not care and let it go through. And then I know in the Shopkeepers, you have like Mumu's, he is also a big enjoyer of like Chimera, so it'll be interesting to see where these picks go to.
Yeah, I'm definitely thinking the Shinbi, Sereth perhaps, Countess for sure. Definitely mentioned in this draft for sure.
Yeah, Shinbi is one of the talking points here, and you've got to hope that these teams have done their homework on each other, because again, these spots for Swifts are dwindling here in the losers bracket. It must be mentioned that if they lose this, you're outski. It's over. You can only lose 2 before you have no chance, and you're through. Zarus is going to be that first ban. Typical. We've seen this before. It's not really too surprising to see come out from the shop.
Yeah, as we go through the bans, the Separate ban is actually quite interesting. I wonder if it is a bad matchup into what they're trying to pick in the off lane or the jungle. It's very curious to see, because Separate currently I don't think has been played by many teams at all in this current meta. So we'll see kind of where this transitions into and see kind of what their game plan is.
Ooh, the Decker first pick. Guys picking like me out there. Very strong character, a lot of CC, good engage, plays well in every situation, so it's a great pick.
Yeah, the CC galore, you can't quite blame him for it. Even if you don't have a Zarus because you banned it away, you still have space control as well. Just some good lockdown potential. Lieutenant Bellica has some flex potential, but might just be seen slotted against that Decker in the support role. And the Sereth, we talked about it. We've been seeing it all LCQ, and that's just because it's so powerful. This assassin style of play has been really favored in these last iterations of the Pred meta, so not anything too crazy just yet. I'm wondering if we're going to see a bit more spice thrown in the second half.
Yeah, so we'll see where it goes from here. But yeah, Sereth, Bellica are really strong picks, because Bellica can be played in the mid lane or the support. So it lets you be flexible for your team and maybe take it out of a bad matchup into a good matchup. So Bellica's back in the meta, which either people hate it or like it. So, and on the other side, we actually see the Kwang and Gideon. So what's interesting about the Kwang, there was actually a patch, I think, last week or this week. So, and they kind of buffed Kwang and kind of nerfed other offlaners. So Kwang's kind of coming back into the meta as that flex pick as well for offlane and jungle.
Yeah, Quang and Gideon, Decker, that's a lot of engage for that side. It works pretty well against this team. They got Bellica is a pretty immobile character, so they can let the focuser. But now they got the Sereth, they got the Kira, so they have mobility to counteract. It could go either way at this point.
It's aggression versus lockdown and control here. Of course, having that black hole is just such a great boon in any team fight. It seems that as far as the composition plans here that are going forth, what do you think is the draft philosophy behind each team? What kind of comp are they looking for? What's going to be their playstyle as the Drongo ban comes in here from Destiny Bond?
If I had to go with Shopkeepers, it looks like they're going with the standard AoE, CC heavy, ultimate engage kind of comp. Whereas you look at Destiny Bond, they're looking for kind of that pick or that backline dive, or just trying to get as many resets as possible for the Seraph. So if they can lock down a target, they can just run away with the game with the Seraph that's resetting. Or the Bell could also go into the support role and play in the backline. So they're like kind of diverse, whereas the Decker, Quang, the Gideon, Shopkeepers are looking for that all-in engaged team comp.
I'm leaning more towards the Shopkeepers. My favorite draft. They got just more general utility they can use. They got more options, whereas Destiny Bond a little more one-dimensional. Just run at somebody and kill them.
Yeah, it definitely does lend you some ability when you have that space to kind of keep your opponent guessing, and if you're a bit too inflexible, what happens? You break. It's definitely not flexible. Is that steal locked in there, getting some extra front line on top. Revenant and Countess are going to be the locks here for Shop. That means they got their final 5. Do we feel like they've committed to that philosophy here of just group play, big AoE, or did they decide to shift from that a bit?
It looks like they kind of shifted with the Countess and Revenant. The ideal with the Countess, though, could be to stop the Seraph backline engage so that they have the option there. If Seraph goes in and Countess has ult, they can just lock it down with the Countess ult into a Decker combo. So they're also looking to maybe peel their backline a bit and have a bit more flexibility in their options. So if they get engaged on it, maybe they can counter engage with the Countess or with the Decker getting a good pick onto the Seraph.
Yeah, both teams have that one character that wants to get to the backline, but both teams also have that one character that wants to stop the backline with the steal on Destiny Bond and Countess herself on Shopkeepers. So it's interesting.
And a Howitzer is going to be the final lock here for Destiny Bond, which is definitely some good lockdown play. You just kind of keep yourself planted, drop some mines, and make sure that no one can do anything about it except for walk on some eggshells to try to approach. Guys, we have 5 champs on each side. We have 5 great players piloting them. Who do we think takes this and why?
I think I'm going to go with Shopkeepers just because I know more of their players on that team. I've seen them in the rank scene. Some of them have past PCC experience where I'm going to, even though Destiny Bond to me is the underdogs, I'm going to have to give it to the Shopkeepers. I think they've just been around the game longer.
Just going purely off draft, I'm going to go with Shopkeepers. They just have more options to play with in the map. The other team could easily fall behind because they have characters that do not play well from behind at all. So I'm going to go Shopkeepers.
Shopkeepers from draft, from player experience, they're favored by the desk, but can Destiny Bond avert their fate to make sure that they can maybe find themselves among the victors in that Swiss bracket? There's only one way to find out, folks. We're going to toss it over our casters. Ego and F6, take it away.
Gamers, welcome in. Last chance for these teams in the LCQ pilot of the game from the casting booth. You got the E squared combo rocking with you. It's your boy Ego, but I'm never rocking alone. I'm here with the man, the myth, the legend. F6, are you ready to get into the game?
Dude, I'm super excited, man. Day number 2. Day number 1 already gave us a bunch of matches. We saw a lot of competitors come out and show out, and this is not anything shy away from that. Day 2, these teams are fighting for more. They are trying to keep themselves alive, and this is the first game to set the tone today.
Most definitely, man. The PCC has always been a proving ground, and both of these teams do have a lot to prove. Not much room for error in not only the team play, but these compositions, as the desk did point out. And with that in mind, as we're going to be heading into the game here, I want to ask you, F6, which one of these teams are you actually kind of pivoting to after seeing the composition?
I mean, just solely off the Shopkeeper get essentially they have a lot of control. They have a lot of a burst as well, so they can really kind of play whatever they need to at the time.
I have to agree with that, and I know it does kind of feel like a carryover, but they do feel like they did draft a lot of options here. They have the options of being able to lock you down in a 1v1, especially if you're low with the Revenant ulti. They can all in on you by creating space with the deck or maybe sending that Countess in with the slip. It does feel like they can do a lot of really good things a little bit easier than the other side's composition can do. That being said, though, I mean, they do have some staples of great play. The engage coming out of Steel is going to be amazing. The kill secure and safety when that Howitzer does get his ult on is going to be really solid, but it does feel like they have to play a little bit of a tighter game.
Yeah, especially with a lot of the dive coming in from the Seraph. If she gets a little bit too far forward, it's going to have to force the Steel to try and help with that engage. Not too much to help with that backline, even though Javi can make himself safe with the mine, with the make of the rain. Belka really has that knock up, and if that doesn't hit, they have a lot to really kind of dive to that back, especially with the Kwang. They don't really have too much to stop the Gideon either. And the really big factor that I'm really pushing towards Shopkeeper right now is the reason because of that Revenant. That Revenant could take somebody out of the fight, whether it comes down to the objectives, whether it comes down just to an all-out jungle brawl, losing that man, and then you have a Countess that can dive that back line, take somebody out in an instant with her burst. That's going to be something crucial inside that late game.
You're going to be playing around these objective pits throughout the game. It can completely change what the ultimate outcome can be, but at the end of the day, these players are going to have to take those steps. They're going to have to pilot these characters and execute on what ultimately is the dream to win, as we're already seeing a little bit of a grouping starting here in mid.
Look at the 5-man rumble there. They're both teams looking aggressive, looking for that eagle. Look at this.
Already, Strats with the engage onto the backline, but it's going to be Salty who's going to be able to force Palby and Cursor back. It's going to be a knockback. It's going to be a blink. It's going to be an all-out brawl on the river that's going to be running red with blood, but it doesn't look like we have the first blood of the match, at least not yet on the back. It is going to be Plato fighting in a stretch, looking like they're going to be losing the altercation, but after exchanging some blows, no team is going to have a member fall.
No, they're not. But on the end of a Shopkeepers, that is 2 flash taken away, including the Revenant. Knowing that he does not have the mobility is going to be a rough one for him in that laning phase. And you should be looking out for a quick gang here, Eagle, because if I'm a jungler, I'm looking at them like, yes, this dual lane should be free. But Moo, looking at Multi-Gerald here, going to have to get caught off, trying to get inside that red buff invade, but he's not going to be allowed to.
Howitzer here just laying on the damage. This is going to be basically a free kill going over to the enemy side team, as it is going to be Monty Gerald who strikes first in today's LCQ. It is going to be the other side pulling ahead.
Gets the first blood, and that should make up for the wave that he missed. Losing out a little bit on the XP, but the gold is in the favor. Not a good start coming out of Shopkeepers. The over-aggression there towards that rev buff should have been halted as soon as he got spotted throughout that mid lane, but it's going to be thwarted out there by DB as they start off this game hot.
Countess now going to have to play from behind. Mew Mew's very solid player, is going to be very capable of hopefully shoring up some of the economy, some of the XP lost in that first altercation, but that does not change the fact of the matter, and that is that Destiny Bond, after that altercation and now after the first blood, is going to have a little bit of the momentum, a little bit of that, fervor in their sails, as we're going to be making our way into the laning phase. Jesus.
Oh my, the Void Bomb gets the double, as now it is 3-0 DB putting this game on their back. Shopkeepers are on this back end here, Ego. It's going to be a rough one for them to get out of. They still have a little bit of that late game with the Countess, but right now it's looking a little rough.
It does feel like a couple of these kills could have been avoided here. The Countess early rotation, kind of unfortunate, but still looking to maybe go into that red side to see if you can ultimately get this steal. They were relatively low there, and with the combination of CC coming out of that Seismic Assault into the Void Bomb for the damage, it feels like they could have potentially reset a little bit earlier, but with that being said, Destiny Bond feel like the destined ones right now, as they have now developed a sure lead here in the first 5 minutes.
They have indeed, but something to highlight, Shopkeepers, here is if you look around on the map, the mid lane is still having a lot of prio. You're seeing Plato pushing Gerald back there with that howitzer a lot. And if you look in the off lane here, we talked about that Kwang being able to get that nice little buff there going into this PCCX, give him that utility just to be able to bully out this steal. But we still have to get this game to cook a little bit more to see how that Kwang is going to be able to be utilized in these team fights. We do have that first Fangtooth coming up within the next minute, so we'll start to see some small groupings. And if he's able to get a little bit of pressure, push that wave into that off lane, we might potentially see an early rotation to maybe get Shopkeepers back into this game.
I couldn't agree more, man. This game is anything but cooked. Yeah, a couple of the ingredients have been set out early here by Destiny Bomb, but there's going to be a lot more Pred to play here, especially, as you said, with that Fangtooth coming up. I'm looking to see maybe a solid grouping coming out of the Shop Boys and maybe a pick on the way to it, as we're going to see King and Label are going to be really aggressive. Mumus now engaging with the slip. It's going to be able to translate some solid damage, but it is not going to equate to a kill.
Just not quite enough. Just getting a little poke off there. Still in that dual lane, they need a little bit of help, but here comes Gerald on that howitzer. They know that he's missing from the mid lane. Gideon has been pushing him in there quite often. Big thing though is the river buff spawning. If Gideon drops down to that left river buff, which it looks like he is, he's going to be in a world of hurt.
Man, he got to get out of there. It is going to be Gerald the Howitzer now making a rotation back to mid with a fresh bit of a river buff for himself, as now Strats is going to be looking to find some safety on his side of the map. Countess showing a little bit of face there. He's going to give them the go, though, to go on that Fangtooth on the other side of the map.
And with that dual lane pushed up, you see the wave already crashed. This allows for that dual lane to rotate over. They don't have anything from stopping them from getting this. And that is the first Fangtooth of the game, ladies and gentlemen, going over towards DB. But look at this rotation and this gate coming out. And the knockup hits, the Void Bomb drops, and they're chasing this Gideon.
Torrent space just a little bit offline there. It's not going to be able to reach NASA. Some very easy damage is going to be lined up for the Bellica with that seismic assault, showing a little bit of the value of her in that support role, being able to make those rotations with some solid damage already innately built into the kit. Gideon is going to constantly have to be on watch against this dual lane.
And Patty B over there inside the offlane still with that Kwang being able to get the freeze over on his side. He's been denying a lot of farm, a lot of gold from that steal, but we all know a steal, you just need to hit level 6, have maybe one item, and just provide that CC for your team. So as long as the steal can utilize his abilities, I think he should be good to go. The real question is, how much of an impact will this slight lead with this Kwang when he starts to rotate into these team fights here in about the next 3 minutes or so?
That does become the question, right? How impactful are these solo laners going to be? And it does feel like it differs from game to game a little bit more than others, as off screen, he's going to hear us as Strats. He's going to have to deal with the caster curse, as he's going to be able to get himself a solo dolo here, now putting his team on the board.
Make It Rain comes out of Howie there, but utilizing the map, using that line of sight, Plato's able to get out of dodge, and Howitzer now does not have that up for him to use if he needs to make a great escape.
He is not going to have that if he needs to make a great escape. However, up to this point, if I'm speaking honestly, he hasn't really needed much of anything, able to put on that early pressure within the early minutes to get that Countess kill locked down. And since then, it's been relatively smooth sailing. I would like to see maybe a little bit more prio put on getting him locked down, maybe getting a bit of a lead, getting his lane a little bit more push so he can make some of these rotations over to the dual lane to help set the pace, because Label and King have just been so aggressive here, and honestly, they haven't really been punished for it.
No, not at all. I saw Moose take a little peek over there, just getting a little bit poke on King, but didn't really resolve into anything. But the real thing is we really need to see both of these mid laners rotate a little bit more. I want to see here on the side of Plato, he's been pushing in the Howitzer a lot, but still hasn't been able to make an impact on any of these side lanes. And I think he's going to be really the game changer to get Shopkeepers back in. I see Zolti making an appearance over in this dual lane.
Yes, sir. It is going to be the Void Bomb, which is going to be utilized as it's going to be a Blast Flower for the steal as he is able to get himself out and dodge. A little bit of a pincer technique. Zolty is going to be on the back end. Ulti is going to be utilized as now Cursor is going to be forced to buy space utilizing the ult, but that means his support is going to be left all but alone as King is going to make Cursor take the knee. It's going to be a double kill in the duo lane, pulling that kill lead up to 4.
And here comes Plato. The black hole is available, not utilizing it. He does use a double flash, comes out, but look at that backline. Zolty gets feasted on as Shopkeepers tries to get one back. As they said, we're not going to let that stand here today.
They're going to cut into that kill lead, reducing it to 300. It doesn't look like they are going to be quite done. Moomuse maybe wanting to get a little bit active here, but with the mobility of King and Label, CC ready, primed, they are going to just play the space towards that tower, force a safe back, and then now maybe make a rotation back into that jungle.
Man, that's going to be huge, though, for Moo if he wants to regank that lane. We do have the secondary Fangtooth coming up. Howie, though, looking at Plato, making it rain drops, and Plato does not have flash. The only thing he has is torn space. Can he get out?
Brother remembered his umbrella. He just barely survives the rainfall until he doesn't, walking back into the hands of Gerald. But now Pebby is going to be a bit out of position. It is going to be a reset, though, for the Kwang. With the tether, he is going to be relatively safe. That, though, cannot be said for his mid laner, as now with the prio that's been secured, it's going to be it's going to be a free mini prime.
Oh man, he ran right back in an howitzer, but look at that Aeon Blast coming out outside of the dual lane. No flash here, Eagle, and Label is the last member left. One more auto, and he's going to be bye.
Man, now cutting into that kill lead by 2, and this is a little bit of what you want to see if you're a Shopkeepers fan. Yes, the objectives have so far been getting locked up as that first Fang and Mini Prime have both gone in favor of the side and Destiny Bond, but being able to pick up something on the other side of the map, whether that be kill and invade or starting the just prioritization and securing the space of that Fangtooth, does keep you in this game and keeps the lead from getting too far out ahead of you. With that being said, though, we are going to see a rotation of 4 members to this Fangtooth pit.
We see 5 members from a DB, but the waves are pushing on the mid lane and the side lane. It looks like now it's going to be a 4v4, but look at it on the crest of the map. The Kwang is rotating as well. Moo just needs to stay alive. The black hole in the back.
Oh man, it is going to be able to lock down Label and Zolty. The big ulti coming out still is going to hit everybody but none at all, as it's going to be Mr. Cursor now being able to get a lockdown kill, but Zolty is going to respawn as Moomuse is going to fall. Now backside Zolty in with the dive. They are in pretty deep, but they can't breathe underwater as they're going to be suffocated underneath the damage coming out of Mr. Cursor on the Revenant. We are going to have all the prioritization for the space of the Fangtooth pit going over to the Shopkeepers.
And Howie still is just in the mid lane there. We expected the Howie to just set the wave and rotate back in. That fight would have looked a little bit different there, Ego, if the Howie was there. But huge shout out to the Kwang. We saw the rotation from a mile away. He lands a 2-man tether, sent them to the heavens, and they are now angels as they now secure the first Fangtooth on the side of Shopkeepers. And this game is getting hot because Shopkeepers are looking like they're back in it.
Now, this is partially what the Death said as well, right? This composition that the Shopkeepers came in with is going to be a little bit easier to play from behind with, and that's exactly what we saw here. Destiny Bond did have a very solid lead, but with some solid positioning and rotations, the combination of Cursor and Moomoose's damage, even with the help of that Gideon Black Hole notably making it easier, are able to make plays, and with that, they've evened up the Fangtooths and now have stolen away that kill lead.
That's what we wanted to see. It looks like these two teams are starting to get a little bit more comfortable into this first game. Their warm-up is over, and they're saying, hey, we are now ready to play. As Zolty makes an appearance back over into this dual lane, and it just looks like Revenant's just dead here, as Bad Yoshi just has to just commit to that retreat.
Dude, that's just a fundamentally good rotation. You see they're a little bit pushed up. You have that little bit of additional mobility coming in with the Sarah's pick, and you just lock yourself down a kill, as now it looks like they're going to be able to line up a second one. Moomuse out of position here is going to get eradicated underneath the damage, as Zolty is going to be able to pick up another.
And just like that, DB is back into that kill lead, and the 4-man rotation into this dual lane is criminal, but they are going to look like they're going to be able to pick up this T1 and should be able to start to open this map up a little bit more as the first kind of structures go down here.
Knocking that structure down as Strats does come down from the heavens. It is going to be an under tower ulti onto Palby, but not really able to lock him down or increase the threshold of his kill potential. Kwong is just going to be able to reset and push out a little bit more damage onto the wave, maybe looking to lock down this tower.
Strats does need to be careful here. He does not have the shield slam anymore. Barely any health, very little mana as well, but the Howards are making the rotation here, might possibly be able to thwart that as we do see Kwon making that retreat. Something about the Shopkeepers, though, they need to start grouping up. We're seeing a lot of mispositioned plays coming out of their side of the map. Not a lot of vision coming through there as well, as we do see making a Bob just kind of boot back there, actually going to be able to make him save, doesn't utilize the make it range, so still nothing coming out of that mid lane gank.
That being said, though, I would have drawn the attention over to the KD of that Revenant. 5, 3, in 1. If anyone's going to have 5 kills on my team in this position, I'm very much so happy that it is going to be the Revenant. Don't get me wrong, I would like to see Countess fed as well. I mean, it's not called a blood feast for nothing, but with that being said, if you are going to get him online and you are able to protect him in some of these team fights, as you said, and some of these group up, maybe 4-on-4s, 5-on-5s, let's play around these objectives and take our time, you are going to be in a position to just melt through the HP bars of the opposition, but they have to get those groupings and that positioning first.
I 100% agree with you there. We do see, though, Moo is not necessarily at that damage peak he needs to be. He chose to elect to go with the Fire Blossom full build here, and you now see him start to slowly get in that burst damage, some magical damage, to be able to kind of get everybody out of his way once he starts to dive in there. And that's when he's going to start to become lethal as soon as he's able to finish that second and third item to really put his AP up to that mark he needs to be.
It does feel like it could be anyone's games. Despite the builds, despite the momentum up to this point, it is close, as we are very much so at that mid-game point. Strats are maybe looking to set up label off of this rotation, but it is going to be Palby very much so aware, playing the space back as King. It's just going to be able to translate some very easy damage, and with this grouping, I'm wondering if they're about to all in and try to commit to the tower, as that Make It Rain is going to force Mumus to commit to a retreat in the mid.
That is a howitzer alt down. I think on the side of DB here, they're looking for that play over there by Mini Prime. They want to start to control that map area. But on the other end, though, they are starting to push into this mid lane, and that might not work out to their favor. As you see, they're just able to retreat on the side of Shopkeepers, and now the play has to be called here. The third Fangtooth of the game is coming up. We don't have to necessarily worry about any of these teams getting that permanent buff with the attack, the resistance, but we do have to worry about them getting a 1 advantage lead, getting them closer to that 3 Monty mark.
I'm going to be honest, I just don't want them to have the gold if I'm playing on from the side of the Shopkeepers here. It is, though, going to be Destiny Bomb with the positioning, as all 5 members are going to be in the general vicinity of this pit. Now, looking to play the space from the backside, though, it is going to be Mr. Cursor as well as his Quang, but they're not going to be able to position fast enough, as that objective is just going to get burned. Speaking of which, the HP bars are getting burned on them for being able to get the dive. Did you get the objective? Yes, but what did it cost? And as of now, it's going to be 2 lives here. Backside, it may not be over. Strats is going to be looking for the engage until he's not. That's going to be a blink away because his teammates were gone in the blink of an eye.
Oh man, that was huge. They do get the Fangtooth here, so hear me out. That is their second, but what they gave up was a lot. They gave up a lot of flashes. They gave up 3 kills. They gave up the mid T1, and now this map is open, and now they're going to give up Strat.
Brother, your name is Steel. Why do you look so soft? That brother got eviscerated underneath his tower. The 6th man wasn't enough, as now after taking 3, technically 4 their lives, they're also going to be able to take a T2 to go.
Man, the economy shift right there from that fight is huge, and now the Mini Prime is in a play. Kwong is going to be able to start this, but Moo on the other side of the map might not be the best idea because Zolty is here. Howie just needs to clear out that mid and might be able to get a rotation in.
Sareth kind of taking him for a little bit of a leash, very much so. Now going to make his way out, Will the Kwong, as over onto the side, Howitzer is going to be in a small altercation with the Decker. A little bit of a reset coming out of these teams, as it seems like after that, it's going to be Destiny Bond not really looking for the fight, and Shopkeepers not really feeling like they need to commit.
Not at all, but big highlight here. We see the Overseer is going to be fully built. That was a huge game changer there for that fight. Still, I do want to highlight Plato getting a lot of these black holes to hit to a lot of targets. How he makes it rain, trying to drop as much damage as he can, but it's not going to be able to finish out. The forces the flash once again, and now on the side of DB, those resources are gone. So the next team fight is going to look a little squirrely, especially when they can't escape that black hole.
At this point, if I'm playing on Shopkeepers, I'm feeling very much so confident. A lot of these team fights, when we do group up, have started going our way. We had a couple missteps within the early phases, but we're almost 20 minutes into the game, and this is not that. Strat's now playing the space over to the side of the Fangtooth Pit. He's going to initiate with the Bull Rush, and is going to be able to follow it up with that Shield Smash, hitting none. It is still ultimately going to be the Shopkeepers who are going to be able to take the objective, but the question becomes, can they keep their lives? The answer for Mr. Cursor is going to be no. Black Hole is going to come up, as it is going to be Sereth who's going to be able to ascend and ascend even further. She will. That girl got sent to heaven's gates, as now it is going to be a 1-for-3 trait that goes in favor of the Shopkeepers.
And they secured that mini prime, so they have that boost towards them with any type of next engagement that they want to look into. They do have to answer that left wave, but you can see already the tempo is shifted. Shopkeepers right now, I believe, is just in total control. They'd have a little bit of rough start in that early game, but we're seeing them make up for it here throughout this mid. And if they can keep it throughout this late game, that's going to be huge. But King sees Baby, going to have to force that flash out and hopefully be able to get out here.
Tether is going to come down, and as such, it does look like Baby is going to be able to get out. Label on the backside is going to be looking for, but unlikely they will find what the distance has been created. I'm going to be real here for a moment, F6. We've been casting it for a long time. We've seen a lot of games, and we are seeing what seems to be an exercise, as far as team fights go, called involuntary yoga, getting folded like laundry, some would say. It does feel like Destiny Bond has the potential to be able to lock down some of these team fights, these 4-on-4s, these 5-on-5s, but they need to get a pick first or engage with everyone. He saw Strats within that last fight, did send in, sadly not able to lock down any knockups with the ulti, but still, there is some solid setup to be had coming out of this steal, but the team isn't really profiting or capitalizing on it quite yet.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Stress is not doing a bad job of being able to initiate for his team. The fact is, it's just a lack of damage behind the CC chain, right? We saw there the big example from the mini prime is King tried to push in, but a little bit late on the rotation. There's huge damage coming out of them. Archers will not be able to provide as much as he's just getting CC'd and damage throughout. Ooh, oh my goodness, King, goodbye. Able to pick one up, and now Jill looking to the mid lane and pick up another one. Quick answer there as they put the pressure on.
Dude, just a double lockdown kill here, as Moomew's hits are going to be able to eviscerate and evacuate the throne of King. It's looking kind of tasty for the Countess. Now, though, Strats making his way to the T2 mid is going to give the Shopkeepers the go to initiate on this Fangtooth.
And without those flashes there for the side of DB, this might be a Fangtooth for Shopkeepers. We do know Plato still has the black hole ready to go here. Strats has to be careful with this engage, but Zolti lurking on the back end, looking for a possible steal to go in.
Man, that boy is lurking. He's in the bushes. Baby is going to be able to help lock it down relatively low. Ultimately, though, it is going to go in favor of the Shopkeepers. The question is, will they be able to keep their lives? And for all of them, as of now, the answer is going to be yes, as two members just get eviscerated in the face of the damage. My lord, that is going to be the Primal Blaze burning through the HP of Destiny Bond.
I'm pretty sure they nerfed Siphon Blade there on the last patch, but oh my goodness, the healing coming out of that there to save Moose alive to be able to get that kill there. But huge shout out to Plato once again with an exceptional black hole. We didn't catch too much of it on the camera, but he was able to zone out a lot of their DPS once again. And like we talked about before, it's not the fact that Strats is not getting these engages, it's just the DPS cannot follow up. The great zoning coming out of the Shopkeepers as they now secure the Primordial Fangtooth and have everything they need to secure this big prime.
That being said, it does feel like it's only natural that the black hole is an exemplary example of the gravity of the situation that this team is in, as Zolti is going to engage. They're going to just stop all DPS onto it until he makes his re-emergence. Ultimately, though, it is going to be a disengage, and now a double buffed up Mumus engaging onto the back end. Label is going to almost get laid out as he's going to be looking to make his way to the 6-man, but will he be able to make it? The answer is going to be no, as Plato is going to be able to lock down the kill. King is going to be running for the hills as Strat is looking for a strategy to survive. My lord, that siphon damage is going to be big, but Bad Yoshi is going to be even bigger. That's the support, by the way, playing the space onto the backside. That's going to be 3 for none as Countess does fall and make it at least a trade, 2-3, as it looks like Destiny Bond. It's a little bit of life breathed back into him, though. Mr. Cursor there, the raid boss in every way, is going to be playing his space close to that mid inhib until he finds a disengage.
Oh man, there's not too much they can really push here. They're outnumbered, and since they are at the enemy core, they respawn faster into this fight. But a little bit of an overextension there from the Shopkeepers. They did end up picking up 2, but the fact of the matter is they were lost 2 as well. They still have the advantage of 3 members with that Orb Prime, and a little bit of time left on that Primordial as well. So they do still have the opportunity to siege here, but huge plays coming out of Shopkeepers. They still have control of this game. Once these respawns set back in, once they get control back over this map state, you can see the siege start to happening, and DB's gonna have to come out with one hell of a defense.
It is going to have to be a defensive play of the ages here. It does feel like all of the momentum, that ultimate 6-man that's invisible but omnipresent, is sitting on the bench of the Shopkeepers right now, as early on, despite slipping up, they've been able to keep themselves in contention in this game, and now they're just looking to keep the lead. It's going to have to be really solid mechanical and strategic play out of Destiny Bond to be able to pull this back and re-seize the reins of this game.
They just need to not overextend here. They don't have anything else to give up besides towers, so they know the next pressure they're going to have to defend here are going to be the inhibitors. If they can just kind of bide their time, they don't have too much wave clear, but they do have enough to stop the halt. As long as shoplifters or Shopkeepers don't push into and extend too far in, I think they should be able to make a defense here.
Make It Rain is going to be utilized, but it is going to be in exchange for Mew Mew's ult, as well as Countess is going to be able to bring that boy back to the ground. Now Plato able to do some very solid damage, and it is going to be just enough as he is going to be able to lock down the kill on Tony Stark in the fursuit. Brother Strats is going to be looking for an engage over onto the side. It is going to be Mr. Cursor who goes down at the hands of King. Right now we're looking at a 1-1, but I don't think it's going to stay that for too much longer. These health bars are so very low, but they're not at 0, which is all that matters. Big stun is going to come out as Bad Yoshi looks to his damage and says, fine, I'll do it myself. Pybe over onto the side, though, with a wave is going to threaten core as King is threatening the lives of the opposition. Ulti is going to come out, but he is going to come down. Brother was on a high, and now it's going to be real low, 6 feet deep into the ground, as he is going to be turned into a +1 for the opposition. A siege on the mid inhib is going to be provocative to the action going on here in PCCX. Mumu's looking to X out the life on Zolti as he is close to falling, but he has not fallen yet. Ultimately, though, he will, as Mew Mew's is going to be able to pick up that kill. So that's going to be 3 members gone as 4 still stand strong. Excuse me, I'll change my math. Mati wanted to switch up the equation. Howitzer gets the kill.
Oh my goodness, just the overextension here is just a little bit too much. They were able to get 2 inhibitors, but look at Strats chasing down Yoshi. Yoshi, though, very maneuverable. Being able to use that double jump, gonna be able to just cage him out here, but Strats is just still on that haunt.
brother is looking. He is hunting, as you said, but Mr. Cursor is back, and that HP bar is not what it looks like when Revenant is on the field. That's going to be 4 members up, 3 for the opposition, and Destiny Bond, and now a rally near that Primal Fangtooth.
Oh man, Ego, we got a heater on us here today. It is only 28 minutes in, but look at the kills. Look at these fights that we've been seeing. We're seeing that Shopkeepers are just really aggressive, but also on the back end, their strats got a little bit too hungry, a little bit too greedy for that kill, as now they are a member down when the 3rd Fangtooth is up. It's a good thing though that Countess is on the opposite side of the map. They do have a chance here to set those waves, to buy them a little bit more time, but they are on the back foot because eventually those waves are going to start to push into that core. So Shopkeepers, all they have to do is just bide their time. They don't have to force this objective. They just need to maintain pit control, maintain that vision control, and not push too far deep.
You never want to be in a position here where you are forced to be playing the waiting game. And now it looks like they're done waiting. Badiyoshi is going to suffer some serious damage here, as he's going to be reduced to about that 50% threshold. Plato looking to play the space over onto the side, is going to come face to face with Strats. However, top side is going to be an ulti that's going to come out of the get-in. It will ultimately, though, cost his life, as 2 members are going to fall on DB. That being said, we may be looking for a third. Blink for blink, and in the blink of an eye, Mew Muse is going to be able to lock down another kill. King is going to be running for the throne, looking to siege up in his castle, but running behind him is going to be Mew Muse, looking to slip through the cracks, and he will. 4 members down, and the core is wide open.
Oh my goodness, Strats is the only one left here, Eagle, but what a chase, what a hunt, what a game coming out of Shopkeepers, but I don't think there's anything else Strats is left to do.
Except for die, as it is now going to be our first RGS ace of the day in a fashion it is going to be convincing at the very least. Brother, Shopkeepers are going to be able to lock this one down in 30.
Oh my word, what a game. We started off, we're like, man, what was that invade? We saw Mu get picked off. It was a 3-0 lead in the first 5 minutes. We thought that DB was just going to be able to take over this game. They had a little bit of lead there on that Seraph, but Shopkeepers came back and they said we had something else to say. They played exceptionally well. One of the big mistakes, the only thing I really saw from them were they were just a little bit over aggressive, but it worked out in their favor, especially with that Countess in that late game, getting those picks, securing those kills. But huge shout out to Plato, huge shout out to that Decker. I mean, just the plays there, finishing those extra kills with those Aeon Blasts, with those stuns, just exceptional all around. GG's.
You know, Shopkeepers could save a lot of money on keyboards because the only button they're using on that bad boy is the W key. They went down 3 kills, sub 3 minutes, and it didn't matter. They were still looking to press the advantage anywhere they could find it. Mew Muse, as well as the Carrion Revenant here, definitely carving a way, carving a path for them to march to victory. As we saw there, it's all about confidence. And F6, tell me if I'm wrong, but it felt like they never lost it throughout that game. And as such, they were able to earn a win. GG's to both of these teams. That's going to be it for E Squared on the day. Thank you all so much, and I hope you're looking forward to the next game, as I'm looking forward to seeing what the desk has to say.
E Squared, everyone, the casting crew for that game. Thank you very much. Welcome back, everyone, to the post-wrap desk. Shopkeepers, keep the lights on for another day. Destiny Bond meet their fate. Death by small business. DB started off hot, guys. That double kill Void Bomb in the early, but things just turned around. Lake, Toasty, what happened here?
Well, one of the big things that happened here was, Mumu was on one of his signature picks, which is that Countess. Even though he died in the early game and kind of maybe struggled a bit, he was playing that scaling pick that once he got online, he was kind of allowed to do what he wanted to do to the map, and he got away with it, as well as their offlaner. Their offlaner just had a solid, I would say it's just a solid performance that whole game. I don't think he died once. He went 4-0-11, so he was just being the front line, being annoying, being that tank, and they just broke their way through.
Yeah, Destiny board, they started out pretty strong. They got the couple good tower dives from Zolti. Shopkeepers had their failed red buff invade at level 1, but then it just comes down to Shopkeepers just more experience in every role. and eventually they just overcame with their double scaling hyper carries like Rev and Countess, and it was just over from there.
Yeah, I think to that turning point, that 11-minute 50 Fangtooth, that really started to set things in their favor. And it's what we talked about at the desk prior, the fact that they want to group up. Those black holes were always on point, forcing resources, and when they didn't have the flashes up, forcing deaths. So that was just really good play on the part of Shopkeepers, knowing their win con. If you guys were a different team stepping up against them now as they advance through this loser's bracket, what word of advice would you give to those future opponents?
My word of advice would be probably take Mumu's off his comfort picks, shake up the team a bit, and then you'll see how they go from there. Because I think Mumu's is probably the core of that team. So if you get him on an awkward pick, you might see some holes.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think, but it's potentially a problem because Mumu's hero pool might be just too deep for them to actually take him off. Maybe they're not people aren't comfortable playing counter jungle themselves, so it's kind of a toss-up for me, to be honest.
Multiple roads to follow, but only one leads surefire to victory. With 2 spots left, you know that's where everyone's mind is set on. Unfortunately for Destiny Bond, that is the end of the road. They have been eliminated from the LCQ. Shopkeepers going to continue to fight for their keep in the future. But as far as this game goes, that's all we got. But we got more PCCX action coming at you, so don't you dare go anywhere. Right after the break, more action.
And most of Murdoch's kills were from across the map. So I don't know. I think there were signs of life there, but again, Kiwi's new presence in the mid lane up against the veteran in Naps, who was just cooking on all cylinders all the way across the map. Quentin Ray did not seem to have the impact that I think he could have had on his other heroes in his pool. But again, Nightshade, they did a lot right there. I mean, Blue Monster, he was cooking. Guru, he was picking the right targets, starting the right fights, you being shifty, shapy, shooty, and jumping out of fights. Naps, the way he was applying pressure with Gideon, that is what I want from all Gideons moving forward in the future, right? Just quick flash shove a wave, rotate somewhere else. You don't need to sit in lane for a long time. And Turk, his pressure, 1-1 with 14, he was all over the map. He was off lane, he was mid lane, he was duo lane, he was jungle, it didn't matter. He was everywhere.
Yeah, a fantastic showing. They move on to the lower bracket round 4, where they will fight against either the bench or Slaughterhouse, depending on who makes it out next. Folks, we have way more action coming at you here on both our A stream and our B stream. Our next set of casters will be the ones you know and love, Lance and Wangle. Dr. Shadow and I will be there for game 3, and then we'll have another set of casters for game 4. So more action all the way through. Folks, we're going to take a short break. We'll see you on the other side.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to PCCX, where we look to find the successor to Predecessor glory. I'm D-Lo, your hostess with the mostest. We have choice plays, our eye in the sky, Dirty Lake, and a boy at my side, Nightshade. Stepping up here to the bench today, lads. How we feeling?
We'll see if they can get their vengeance and work their way back in. I think they got knocked out by, was it Speakeasy or Enlightened? But they got knocked out and they're... Enlightened took out the bench. So yeah, the bench is a full, I don't know if it's full EU roster, but there's a lot of EU players on the bench, so it's quite interesting to see how they perform on the NA grounds.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. I'm looking forward to seeing my man Guru back in it. It's been a while since I've seen him play, so...
Gotta hope that the rust is shaken off here as we start hopping back in. And guys, this is, what, 4th round now. The loser bracket, we're starting to approach the end. We're starting to approach these Swiss bracket slots. It's almost within reach. You just got to extend your arm out and grab it for yourself here. You got to imagine the pressure is high in these best of one situations. I know you guys cruising all the way up to that Swiss bracket already don't have to worry about that kind of madness, but in a best of one situation, what changes in terms of draft philosophy, the mentals of the players, and how they execute on the field?
I think it comes down to just doing quick research on your opponents, just seeing what they like to play. I think the biggest thing in best of ones is just knock them off their feet, get them on uncomfortable picks, and, try to, get in their heads a bit, try to psych them out and see how you can, mess up their mojo.
Yeah, best of ones are definitely not the time to cook. You want to get on your comfort picks. You want to be disciplined. You don't want to make any crazy mistakes because it could all be over just like that.
Yeah, don't cook. Just stick with maybe some nice toasty and butter. Something simple, light, refreshing, low calorie, and delicious nonetheless. Now let's get into these delicious P's and B's we got going on here. See if there is any chefs in the kitchen, or just maybe we're sticking with lean cuisine meals here for today. I mean, I know that we know some of the players on the field, and now we know some of the bands too. Decker already off the bat, that's no surprise. She is a staple, and Terra as well, so it's interesting to see one looking to ban away that team comp driven CC lockdown, and the other one wanted to stop that dive.
Yeah, it's quite, it's up in the air kind of what these teams are going to do, especially with a European team is going to see what their meta takes are and see what they preference. And, going with the Seraph first pick, Seraph is always a strong pick right now, currently in the meta. You can throw her in the jungle, or if there happens to be a good offlane matchup, you can even take her in the offlane.
Yeah, and we got the Zinx, Quang, so it's another couple of meta picks right now. Zinx is a very strong support. She's got very good matchups, and she can pretty much do anything you need her to do.
Yeah, and it's also interesting that we know the counter to this Seraph being the Drongo so frequently banned out, and a lot of teams are neglecting to pick it up first, maybe prioritizing other roles instead. That just could go to show in these lower echelons where those role emphases lie. Maybe the carries get a bit less of that limelight. Zarus and Lutel and Bellica, though, certainly getting their time to shine as they have been gracing our P's or B's every single time. Now the Gladiator Cage going to make a return, and the question is, where is this Lutel and Bellica going to amble onto? Is it going to be a support or a mid? Gideon, no question there. That's a mid.
Yeah, usually Bellica, if there's a Gideon mid, might go to the support role, and Bellica does struggle into the Gideon. But if the Bellica gets support with the Seraph, there is potential just to play through that mid lane. The Zinx taken also kind of stops the Seraph dive because she can't get that reset if the Zinx gets their ult off in time and resurrects her teammate. So it's you're kind of seeing a bit back and forth here on what the teams are trying to do or what they're trying to answer.
It is kind of hard to determine what they're going for right now. Both teams have good engage and disengage. Bans are Chimera, so they're playing it really safe right now. It's all going to come down to these last two picks here.
The fact that we see Nightshade banning out that Argus says maybe they want to have Lutel and Bellica rotate to that mid. Maybe they're trying to force her into that compromising position, or at the very least, remove the ability for those Dread Novas that stun, that CC to be placed on their team, and just maybe force them onto something they're a bit less comfortable with. Whereas, yeah, the bench philosophy is we don't want to let you guys get that early game, rapidly axe swinging demon on your side. We want to make sure that this momentum doesn't fall too far out of our favor. And again, that makes sense. It's a best of one, and one bad moment of mentals can really result in the entire game spinning out of control. Now, as we approach the back half of it, we got the Skylar on Nightshade. First time I think we've seen her, in fact, on stream, or at least for quite some time, despite her being quite prevalent in the meta. Nightshade, what's the philosophy behind that as the Drongo gets locked down behind the bench?
For Nightshade going Skylar, I'm personally not a fan of Skylar here, but I see what they're doing. Skylar can fly above the Bellica, not get knocked up, potentially fly out of Zara's cage depending on her positioning, and as Seraph dives, once again, she can go in the sky and stall time. Skylar kind of struggles hitting smaller targets with her beam, so we'll see what they kind of pull together here. I'm expecting maybe a Countess pick, because I know they bench banned Chimera, which is Mumu's one of his comfort picks, so we'll see if he locks in the Countess again, or maybe it's Quang jungle. But I'm talking about the wrong team here. I'm talking about Nightshade. Actually, that could be a Quang jungle because Guru does like Quang. So we'll see where things go here. I got my teams mixed up.
Classic Lakeinator. So Nightshade's team comp looks like more they're going to follow up behind Quang, Tether, knock up. They got Zinx follow up, Gideon Portal. Let Kalari do whatever Kalari does. And on the bench, they're playing more Seraph backline dive, and then they're playing more of the mid team fight with Zara's gadget combo, and then, sprinkling some Drongo silences around there and some Bellica knockups.
Overall, sounds like a pretty good recipe for you. I think that Drongo pick really smart. If you can't ban it away, pick it away too. We all know that Sarah would love to dive without having to worry about her voice being silenced. Wants that First Amendment right. Kalari being the final lock here for Nightshade means that we got 5 and 5 guys. Who do we think is going to stay alive, and who do we think is going to be dropping out of this bracket, and why?
I'm going to have to give it to the bench here. I really like what they're doing with their team comp here. They have a lot of peel engaged. They even have Zara's gadget combo, whereas Nightshade has like Kalari, which I think Kalari kind of struggles into the Seraph, Bellica, and Zara. So unless they get really good execution, I'm going to have to give it to the bench.
Yeah, on paper, I'm liking the bench team comp here a lot, but Nightshade, if they find one person in a position, like, the whole team could unravel real fast. They could take out bench one after the other. It's all about discipline, I think, for this game.
Discipline is the word to keep in mind, especially, again, best of ones. You best make sure that everyone is operating at their best and you're just not getting too big for your britches. Will that be the case, or who will be caught with their pants down? We don't have to wait to find out. We're going to toss it over to our casters. TJ, DJ, Frauken, take it away. Arrgh!
Thank you so much, Dilo and Des there. Frauken just got absolutely blindsided by that one, but how is it going, everyone? Welcome to the casting desk here for lower bracket round 4. We really are running out of teams now. There's only 2 spots available in next year's Swiss event. Frauken, we had an absolute banger yesterday in the first game of the tournament, and hoping this is going to be another one, right? Because I'm seeing some of these picks, especially on Nightshade. There's a bit of spice there.
There is a lot of spice. Just even not talking about Kalari Scarlet, first time seen on this PCC production. First time I think in any PCC we've had this character is the latest ADC, unless you count Yin, latest ADC that has been released. So I like what Nightshade is bringing in terms of cooking, but I don't know if it's going to work.
Yeah, I think I really like what the devs were talking about there as well. When you just compare these 2 drafts, with the bench feels very standard, kind of a composition that plays itself almost. And essentially everyone just does their job and the composition kind of flows and works itself out. But with the Nightshade composition, there's a lot of volatility, I want to say, right? There's a lot of heroes that you really do need to get ahead. You really do need to get that ball rolling. Otherwise, you kind of risk being left behind.
Yeah, they really need to get this early game. They need to make sure that they are maybe not proactive, but they need to make sure they have those leads where they want them. They want it on that Gideon. They want it on that Kalari. The dual lane of Scarlet Zinx should be able to do quite well into the Drongo Bellica. I think that's a pretty even matchup. And, I mean, I'm worried about the Quang. He, of course, is a very good character. Overall has been buffed on this patch and can easily hold his own. But I think that might be a weak point on this Nightshade combo. If the bench can get this Zaras instead of ahead, there's not much they can really do to stop the dive.
There's going to be so much onus on them to choose their battles wisely. I mean, if we have as we have been saying, we're going to drop on towards the Sanctuary map here for this game between Nightshade and the Bench. Nightshade are going to be on Dawn's side, Bench over on Dust's side. Round 4, elimination, potentially for any of these teams should they fall here. Nightshade, of course, going to be taking a little bit of a groupie up here in that mid lane. Probably going to get a bit of knowledge down. There is a nice gaping hole in the red side jungle of the Bench that allows them to move in, but they're not going to catch anyone out here. Just a bit of scouting ahead. Probably trying to find where that jungle is going to start. Where does V19590 begin his clear?
I mean, it is a sale, so 99% of the time is going to be that red buff unless you want to make some sort of weird early gameplay on the solo side. But already 2 wards, one placed down on the 2 camp, one placed in basically the middle of the buff. Jump Ashley is on the Zara side. It is a surf off lane. That it is on me. I assumed it was going to be the opposite way around. And, I mean, I think it's fine. Either way, surf off lane has been pretty popular. Zarus has been banned most of the time, so we haven't actually seen that much played. But, I mean, is a Zarus, we've seen him on basically every tournament that's ever been in Predecessor since its release, and that's not going to change anytime soon.
Well, the minion waves are going to meet in the middle, and this game is going to begin as well. And as we go through the opening exchanges of the game, Falcon, let's talk through these lanes, talk through these plays as well. A little bit of spinning circle, of course, TJ on Casto, of course, we can get some little technical hits here. Who's going to have to be the most impactful player for each team, Falcon?
Oh, for Nightshade, it has to be Blue Monster on that Kalari. He needs to get rolling and get a few kills. Maybe not kills, but at least get aggression, get a good farm lead, and get ahead. Because if he doesn't, then Kalari as a pick is pretty useless unless he gets late game, where you can get your items online either way. And for Bench, it's hard to really say. I think they have a lot of stable lanes. Black Viper, if he can keep even with Blue Monster, it should be pretty good for them. But again, I think it's going to be down to the junglers. I think it's going to be down to V81590 to see how he does.
With that Zarus versus Kalari matchup here so far, it'll be pretty standard. Red buff in towards taking off some of those camps. Going to start to tick over to level 3 as well. Looks like a reset coming out for Mr. Guru back towards base V15950. A lot of numbers there. Going to switch over to the right hand side. But this Kalari moving over towards the left here as well. It's just a bit of a meeting of the minds at the moment. But, you know, just going back to what Ades was saying about this Quang, kind of, you know, received some quite favorable changes recently and has almost had a bit of a resurgence in the current meta, Falcon.
It's got really good pick potential as well with that Judgment of the Heavens, getting that tether into the knockup or into the Fury Heavens Seer's ultimate if he so wants to. Can also build pretty tanky, so it's going to be a very strong front line for Nightshade. It's going to be the only one, but with the Zinx heals on the back end, it should be pretty decent. Plus, you got to remember, there is a black hole in play as well as the guillotine. If he can get a tether onto multiple members, Nightshade can easily burst down those players. So I really do like the pick. And again, he's pretty stable in lane. There's nothing you can really do against a Krang unless you get jungle assistance. So we have to see if 195 goes for anything. But as we can see, he's on a ward, a good scouting ward from Blue Monster, so he knows exactly where the jungler is.
Some pretty good fundamentals going on here, and how about that? A fundamental diff in the mid lane. Nat's going to get himself first blood off camera on towards the Dark Dodo. Already Nightshade going to start to pull ahead. Blue Monster hitting the tether. Heavy trading coming out on that right-hand side, but the Zarus V19590 is on the way, looming behind him. Blue Monster's got to be careful. It's going to be the Blink Surge and also the Blink Expended as well. Spirit of Near, not enough. Down to 30 HP, but not 0. Blue Monster stays alive here, but Blinks have been burned.
Yeah, if that barricade hit, it was a guaranteed death onto Blue Monster, but that is going to be the Blink at least expended, so it's going to allow that Black Viper to play a lot more aggressively in the lane, or maybe even a repeat gank from V195, get that surf ahead, but we can already see Kalari's coming over.
Waiting for an opportunity on that right-hand side with that gank on towards Black Viper here. He's going to have to burn his blink as well, so both solo laners will be without the 5-minute cooldown available to them. Potential for the repeat gank. We also have a blink down in the mid lane on the Dark Dodo as well. Junglers definitely have got some options, only the 1 kill at the moment. The difference between these two teams, but the 5-minute mark has been reached. First Fangtooth on the table Neither team really in a good position to jump on it just yet.
Yeah, and just going over back to that mid lane where the first blood happened, we can see that Dark Dodo hasn't got his blink whilst Naps still does, so it is definitely going to be a favourite for Gideon. Plus he has that taunt space still, and that is going to give Nightshade a lot more ability on the map for this level 6 power spike from Gideon. He can get that first rotation because Dark Dodo, he can't really push out, he needs to play safe, because if Mr. Guru has a look around, goes for that gank on the mid lane, it could spell disaster for him. Again, that second dev on this gadget would really put him behind, and he cannot afford it.
Seems to be quite a consistent goal for some of these teams, just to get the mid laner behind, deny that roam, deny that move. Mr. Guru is over here, over on the right hand side. Black Viper has the ascend available, got to choose the right direction, going to take the dagger. We want to jumping forward. Tether is going to land. It's also Black Viper to try and fight their way out of this one, but the writing is on the wall. Mr. Guru picks up the second kill of the game for the Nightshade squad.
Just a repeated gank when the blink was expended, a good harness on the side of Nightshade, and V195 taking a lot down to Naps, who has hit that level 6, is very strong at this stage of the game. Mr. Guru also looking around, but is quite low on HP, maybe not wanting to go to face a check a Zarus. But going back to that solo lane, that is going to be great for Nightshade. That's going to give the Krang ahead, but most importantly, that is going to keep Black Viper down on this serve. You cannot let them get ahead. That is going to be one of the big win conditions for the bench, if that serve can start diving along with the Zarus, because if not, that serve is probably just going to get CC'd and dies.
Well, Naps is trying to get some deaths over on the left-hand side. Torn space, Black Hole, a blink away from Lafieri. It's just going to be the only resource burned on that left-hand side, but already Nightshade starting to make more of the moves. Starts with Mr. Guru, and also with Naps keeping this up as well. Not found the pick, though. They definitely are getting the first pick to a lot of these scraps.
Yeah, he was a bit more healthier. They could have maybe gone for the Fangtooth with that double duo back from the side of bench, but they didn't know where V185 was. You can also obviously see on the map that he had also reset, but it's now back into that mid lane, so it's probably best for them to have not gone for that just due to their lack of vision. Now back onto that ward. I do like how Nightshade is warded in this game, have been able to keep a good idea where of the stars was most of the game, and with that fact they have been able to get some successful ganks, get Mr. Guru on the board, and get this early game lead.
As you said, Falcon, needing to get that Clary on the board, needing to get the snowball rolling here, but the bench playing this one out a little bit slower. It's going to be another slow-paced game that we have had the pleasure of casting. Falcon here, approaching the 8-minute mark. Mini Prime is on the board, available to be taken. No neutrals, though, picked up. Just the 2 kills, the only difference. Seeing Mr. Guru on the left-hand side of your screen, trying to impact that duo lane here, but not really in a good position. V19590 also moving over here, clears out the ward. Everyone knows junglers are on this left-hand side. A little bit tense here, so it's going to be a little bit of a standoff as this Zarus moves through the river. Also got Dark Dodo on the way as well. There's going to be a Colosseum available, and there it is going to be used this time on towards Turk, onto the support as well, but now Naps getting some damage down. Senpai just blows up that Zarus. Now here's to re-engage from Mr. Guru. Guillotine forward, gets a lot of damage onto Lafieri, and will take him down. Senpai, double kill on that Skylum. Next up, Albi might be on the chopping block. He's just going to avoid a few more rocks here, but it is Senpai who has got himself a triple kill on the left-hand side, and he finishes off Dark Dodo by the gold buff.
The bench was just way too extended. The Zarus way out of range of the rest of his team, was able to be bursted down because it's still early game. He still doesn't have the damage to take out the rest of the team. And then Senpai from the back just explodes one after the other. Naps and Guru from the side, able to get to the back line of the bench. So it just meant an easy amount of kills, no real danger for the rest of Nightshade to even get killed there, and plus they get the Fangtooth. So that's just an extra bonus on top. Now Senpai is, I wouldn't say a monster, but incredibly strong on this Skylar. We'll see what they go for first. Most likely it's going to be the Vanquisher, which you normally see on Skylar, unless something has randomly changed. And I mean, this is very dangerous from them.
So as we Assault going to connect on towards Senpai, has got a little bit of a shutdown on them, and are taking some damage from Albi and Lafieri as well. Those red rounds still ticking. Naps, though, on the hunt for another play on that left-hand side, but they are going to back away, spotted on the ward. Dark Dodo also moving into position as well. Damage already has been done though on that left-hand side. Bench unable to find a first kill of the game. And on the right-hand side, V19590 clearing out the mini prime. Maybe looking over towards his right, possibly and stabilize Black Viper in this lane. Going to go for the gank on towards Blue Monster. Ascend crashing down. There's the barricade stun. They just need to try and burst through this. Quang hits a nice double terror. Fury to the heavens to re-engage because Mr. Guru has appeared out of nowhere, but still Bench trying to focus on Blue Monster, who will live. Now Mr. Guru has got to clean up this Kalaria. Live up to name as the assassin. One dagger will hit. Can follow the jump up from Black Viper as well. Heaven's Fury buys some time, and make no mistake, Black Viper is the one who is going to fall. Napsto jumps in towards the black hole, and it will be enough to take down the V19590. 2 more kills going for Nightshade. This one's still not over. Dark Dodo blinks up, trying to get something, trying to find any form of answer, but Mr. Guru's got the basics, and the death mark lives up to the name. 8 kills to 0, and a mini prime will be Nightshade's reward.
The Bears, they just didn't have an idea Mr. Guru was nearby, still on the 5 camp, and Blue Monster was able to delay that gank for so long with that double judgment of the heavens into the view of the heavens. It meant that not only that Mr. Guru was there, Turk was there from the other side of the map. Naps was able to get the rotation as well before Dark Dodo. It meant an easy amount of kills. Dark Dodo trying to at least trade out. He knew that he was dead, went for the desperate play, but was not able to secure it. They won't go for the mini prime though, because of how long that fight was. The death time was still pretty short in this early game. Playing it safe, just taking what they can with the kills, not going for the objective at the moment.
Well, at the moment, it is just that lead for Nightshade. Just looking at the levels, solo lane is even. We've got a level lead in the jungle, a level lead in the mid lane. Dual lane, 1 level on to Senpai on that Skylar over Albi on the ADC role as well. But the 8 kills to 0, the neutral objective in their favor. Bench really do have it all to do really in this mid game as well. They certainly have options. They have go buttons, hoping that it's not a point of no return against this Nightshade team. Junglers hovering around the mid lane. Over on his left-hand side, Mr. Guru going for a gank on towards Albi. Senpai gets the kill, and now going to pick off the duo lane. It's just so easy for Nightshade right now. They move to 10 kills to 0, and there's no response from the bench team on Dusk.
I mean, what can you do? I mean, Guru might have killed himself, taking that gold buff. V185 is looking around, gets the Flower Blast, gets the Colosseum. You can dodge a spear, but you can't dodge a left click from that. So that is going to be at least a decent shutdown from him. Dark Dodo is going to fall down after the gank from Turk with the black hole as well. But at least the bench is on the board.
Yeah, on the board, that Colosseum, that drop, quite satisfying, bit of a dopamine hit as well. But honestly, that also felt a bit personal. But make no mistake about it, it's still a very long climb back into this game. Probably talking about not just one winning team fight, not just one ace, possibly back-to-back, possibly multiple, possibly looking for Nightshade to really fumble here. Naps takes the Seismic Assault, only takes a little sliver of HP, but Torn Spaces, Gideon, he's going to be absolutely fine. Hover it back in, and Bench just kind of chasing shadows. They can't seem to get a grip on this game just yet.
Yeah, it definitely feels like it's just originated from this mid lane. Naps is playing so well. Yes, Senpai has the majority of the kills on Nightshade, but Naps is the one who has really opened up the map for this team. Got that first blood against Dark Dodo, was able to get that level 6 first, was able to start rotating to this dual lane, and again, just has so much damage on his kit. Already has that combustion building into another pen item, not entirely sure what, probably Wraith leggings, but he isn't going for that safety build with that True Silver. He just wants to dive in, blow people up with Mr. Guru, and that has been working perfectly so far.
For sure, I mean, especially if Naps is able just to get enough height on the black hole, which so far from what we've seen, he's not been doing any black holes on the floor. Not really much that can interrupt him. We'll actually be able to position himself above a lot of the danger, position himself above the Colosseum, above the Tesla Dome here. Naps is going to be very scary to deal with for the side of the bench, but honestly, looking at their team, looking at the competition they're going against, there is a lot to be afraid of. Second Fangtooth is going to be secured for Nightshade as well on that left-hand side, unanswered from the bench here. There's not really much they can do. Black Viper to run away from Blue Monster, starting to win out on these trades on the right hand side. But Zaris making a move, so is Dark Dodo as well. Once again, trying to put Blue Monster behind, trying to get Black Viper ahead. As Zaris leads forward, that Barricade Stun will land. Heaven's Fury comes through, Judgment of the Heavens, the Light as well, but it's just going to be snuffed out by Bench, able to at least answer back, get one kill in their favor, but it's still a mountain to climb.
Still a massive mountain to climb. They might be able to look for a mini climb, but with three members of Nightshade still around this side, it's going to be so dangerous. Mr. Guru, unseen, is going to get the lazy back from Black Viper, and the death mark is going to be to secure from the Guillotine and the Vanquisher proc. So that is definitely going to stop the bench from having any sort of momentum.
Just can't afford to do that in the lower bracket as well. Going to be caught out, and now the Zaris a blink away from that black hole. But simply Mr. Guru is just playing the role of the janitor. He's cleaning up, picking off these kills one by one. 2 members down, maybe looking towards the mini prime. Now Turk has also joined the rest of the team as well, and I am really getting concerned about what Bench can do on this Dusk side.
It's not much, and that does not help Senpai getting a straight 1v1 kill against Albi. They should be able to secure this mini fight, most likely given over to Mr. Guru, though it's taken a while. It is given over to Mr. Guru. I don't know if that was intended from how that played out, but it's on a Kalari is definitely no bad problem. And I mean, we were talking about how the black hole was going to be countered earlier, TJ. Lafayette has picked up Silentium. That's probably going to be your best bet to deal with it, but he really needs to get some like Moon Boost to jump up, because if Napster is high enough, he can just outrange the Silentium. Yet I still don't think that's really that much of an issue for Nightshade, considering the state of the game.
Yeah, it's a tough one for sure, especially for Benj as well, when it's just really falling behind, not just in the levels, not just in the items, also just in the tempo of the game. But still, they're giving it their all, still trying to make plays. A bit of a fight over that Cyan buff. I think Black Viper actually managed to secure it as well. They both could take the Blast Flower, not quite what they wanted to follow, because Mr. Guru hovering around once again. Teva lands. Ascend will be used by Black Viper, and is able to sidestep that dagger as well, keeps himself alive, but the damage is being done on this left hand side. Zaris is down, and Nora Genesis came in just to get a member back online. Black hole from Nap Senpai looking to link up as well, but they can't take off the retreating member of Lafieri in that mid lane here. But once again, it's just still jungler down. It's another kill in towards the Nightshade team.
And while this is happening, Mr. Guru Blue Monster just pushing out this solo side, already taking the tier 1. There's a 9 minion orb prime wave onto this tier 2, already down to half HP. Black Viper's going to be here, but he's got to be careful. That tower's going to die. He's going to be right there.
Oh, this is going to be dangerous now that tower has been taken. Black Viper might just pay for trying to defend that structure. Get some decent return damage. Is able to, it has to expend that blink to keep himself alive. Another resource burned over on that right hand side, and Nightshade not really having to do anything special now. Senpai versus Albi, you can see the ability start to hit how much damage Senpai is able to pump out from that air assault, and also with that atomizer as well. That's absolutely nuts, frankly.
He's 2 levels up. He's basically a full item ahead at this stage of the game. There's nothing that Albi can actually do in that lane. If Senpai turns up, then he has to back up. The same with anyone on the side of the bench at this stage of the game. That Skylar, although, I mean, again, hasn't been the big playmaker, but they have just been there. They have been doing the damage. They've been picking up the kills 7-0 and 0. He is playing the ADC as much as they need to, but again, he's just getting set up. Look at that!
Albi is just deleted from the game files. The link up from Mr. Guru and Senpai. Now Lafieri, the next target, accepts their own demise as well. Dual lane is down. Nightshade moved to 17-2. Complete freedom of the map. Complete freedom to do as they please. And Bench, the light is probably already faded at this point here. This is near enough an insurmountable lead to get over. Really is on Nightshade to really throw at this point in the game.
Yeah, it's definitely Nightshade's game to lose. Blends just need to keep their mental up. They need to know that there is always a chance for a game to come back. Though it's so hard at this stage of the game. You're 18 to 2 in kills. Your towers are gone. The Fangtooth is going to be taken. This is the third one for Nightshade. There's going to be no real way to stop this from the bench. You just got to hope and try and get what you can, which seems to be in the solo lane.
As a V19590 is duking it out with Blue Monster as well. Looking for a Spear of Near. Not going to find it. Blue Monster, though, wins that solo bolo. Albie is over here, but Blue Monster's now got to make a bit of a great escape to try and get away. Dark Dodo and Albie on the hunt for him. He can't go through the blue side jungle, can't go through the mid lane, running out, able to do a lot of dodging around. Might have taken a point of damage. Yes, he has, so he's not going to get to execute, but he just joins up with Naps, and Blue Monster runs from right lane to the left lane, regroups with the team, and makes it out alive.
Okay. He's alive. Congratulations, Blue Monster. I don't know how he's alive. I'm just assuming he's incredibly tanky and dodged literally everything. He even survived the Neural Disruptor from Lafayette. And, I mean, I don't think it's like a massive play, but I think mentally, that is incredible for Nightshade.
Oh dear me, and speaking of V19590 picked off in the red side jungle, Nightshade while waiting in the wings for him or any member of the bench side to move into that jungle to be picked off, or Prime available now. As for Nightshade, feels like it's a case of when, not if, they decide to move towards it.
Yeah, I don't think they'll go for it immediately. They have a lot of damage, yes, but they are still relatively squishy as a team. Though the Krang at this point, I mean, Blue Monster, he's just saw what he did, so he can probably survive it, or fine, let's be honest. Yet, I mean, if they go for it too early, the bench, they can go for it. They can go for that flip. That would probably be their best chance to get back into the game. But look at where they are on the map. There is so many wards on this side of the map. They will know, Nightshade will know exactly where the bench is, and it's going down so fast, TJ.
It's already down to half HP now. V19590 and Dark Dodo have only just got towards this pit. Black Viper on the right hand side. If there's any time to win the team fight, it's got to be now. The Ascend Black Viper jumps forward, but the Black Hole from Nats will do so much damage. Epoch coming out. All Prime still not taking down Black Viper, and also the Zara's in towards the pit. Lafayette is taken out, and All Prime goes the way of Nightshade. Really the way it was always going to go, but bench, my word, they tried their best. They forced the fight, trying to salvage anything, but the only result is a full ace for the side of Nightshade.
The bench, they had to go for it. That was their do or die moment. That was going to be the game either way if they just let it through. Again, V195 just not there in time, couldn't link up the Colosseum with the Tesla Dome, because the Tesla Dome was over Senpai, it was over multiple members of Nightshade, so if they managed to lock them down within that, they would have stood a chance, but as it went, just not cohesive enough as a team, too far behind. Now, I mean, there's 4 members on the call, TJ, I think this might be game.
This is just going to be game by the looks of things with the minion wave. Members starting to respawn up. The core down to 30%. Still not fallen though. Naps goes with the black hole. Gets the damage down. Forces member of the bench over. They've already taken down Albie as well. Minions still underneath the base and bench. Trying to hold them off as best as they can. But all that Nightshade need to do is turn away from the enemy team and target that core. Exactly what they do. Clean and clinical. Nightshade advanced to round 5 of the lower brackets.
And it just felt from the start that Nightshade had complete control over that game. It didn't feel like at any stage the bench was able to even form any sort of momentum. The one time they did in that solo side, it was quickly shut down from the side of Nightshade, got that mini prime. And I mean, there wasn't really one point that you can call, unless, I guess you can count that duo side, that 4v4, where Senpai got a triple kill into that Fangtooth. That's when it really started going wrong for the bench. But even before that, the first blood, the 1v1 in that mid lane, Naps getting that lead. Blue Monster able to control that solo side as well. It just allowed Mr. Guru to do what he wanted to Kalari. And then the rest of Nightshade just played well as a team. The bench just not really on the same level, it felt like, in this game.
Well, right at the start of the stream, Falcon, I mean, yourself, the Death said as well, a much more difficult composition to execute for Nightshade. There were so many things that needed to go well, And honestly, they're going to love it when a plan comes together and it convincingly eliminates bench from the last chance qualifiers here at the PCC. So GG's and well played to both teams. That's going to do it from us on the casting desk. We're going to throw it back to the hostess with Dilo and the D-Lab duo lane. Try and say that 3 times quick. I dare you.
Thank you, British boy podcaster. See, try to say that 3 times fast. You simply can't. Can't even do it once. Welcome back to the post-wrap desk, everyone. Following that destructive game, the bench gets sent to the locker room. Nightshade see the light at the end of the tunnel as they get one step closer to that Swiss stardom. Lake, Toasty, what stood out to you guys that game?
Well, I think it was just showing the expertise of Nightshade, all their experience that they have to the EU team that's kind of maybe making their first breakthrough to the PCC. They kind of just dismantled the map. The Clary was being a menace, as Clary should be, and Senpai was kind of just, handling himself in that dual lane. So it just kind of, you just feel the pressure that they were putting on the map.
Yeah, the Kalari was definitely dramatically more impactful in the early game. A lot of rotations. Senpai got massive because of that. Naps was also rotating, and then eventually Quang just became unkillable, and it was just really hard to play into at that point.
And it's exactly what the casters called for, too. You need to see that Kalari be impactful early, otherwise it kind of falls off unless you get to that really, really late game. But you can clearly see Nightshade are in a rush. They want to be done. They want to kick their feet up, have that Swiss bracket spot assured. The question is, can you pull those same tricks going up even further into this round 5 where you are now playing for your final spot? Do we expect to see a similar composition work again?
I'm actually really excited to see these next round of 5 games. These are 4 good teams. So I think you might see some things being pulled out of the bag here as a last-ditch effort, because these teams might know each other a bit more, given where the tournament has kind of trailed to. So this is their last chance. So I would not be shocked if you see something a bit more spicy here.
I mean, if that team comp works for them, it's a best-of-1 situation, if it works. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Just stick with what you know, and I think it will work out best for them.
It is, in fact, now Nightshade, having taken that game, advancing up against Speakeasy, the team that sent them to that losers bracket in the first place. So it's a question of, can they get their get back to get that Swiss seat? And won't be us finding out here. Is this going to be our final time here at the desk? But don't you guys worry. Following the break, we will be graced by the presence of our lovely host, our dog with 3 Gs, because she a real one. So don't you guys dare go anywhere. More PCCX right after this.
If Lou survives it, but good job by Reckless. They will live a little longer into this match, still have an opportunity to get themselves into the driver's seat and start putting the pressure back onto Shopkeepers. But we're not quite ready for that. I'm sure we'll get another Or Prime dance pretty soon.
Yeah, we talked about how I think this Reckless team does outscale the Shopkeepers team. However, that outscaling point has been moved back due to Third Fang Tooth getting picked up by Shopkeepers, which makes it a lot more difficult for Reckless to play this game, because they're just like, I just need a couple more items, just finish this next item and maybe we're at a really good spot to fight. But it's just, the finish line's moving. It just keeps moving away from them.
Yeah, and we saw 4 tier 3 items already completed on Drongo, the ADC, and Mr. Cursor. Really pumping out damage, able to chew through these tanks like you noted the last time we discussed this, Wangle. He's got that demo, he's got the Equinox, got the quiver and the Lightning Hawk. That's kind of what you're looking for with the Infinity Stones if you're an ADC.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult to take down Mr. Cursor, especially with that Equinox shield. Opting into it pretty early comparatively to most builds, but the true damage that it provides is really good into this Reckless comp.
It is. I mean, he's at 80% crit already, so I mean, kind of makes some sense. Maybe here trying to get aggressive. The rest of the shopkeepers around the edge as well. He's going to catch himself a tether, which may thwart the attempts, but you know damn well Mumus way back in that backline trying to take that 1v4. Going to have to flash himself out there. Realizes the rest of the boys not there to defend him. Looking like they might start this primal Fangtooth up and just dare Reckless to walk into it. This is bold, I would say, Wangle.
Yeah, Reckless are instantly walking in now, so...
Well, Plato with the black hole going to come through, but he gets picked right away with the hook. Tesla Dome comes down too on top of the Coliseum, but it's 2 for 1 so far. XP Code going to be the next to fall. Mumus jumps back down onto it, but it is the Drizziest just walking away, going to end up falling to it. That is all 5 members down. That should be both buffs, both massive neutral objectives for Shopkeepers.
It is Mr. Cursor's world, and we are just living it. This guy is loving his life. Insanely just pumping damage in the backline, not even being focused by Reckless. He's just sitting there. He's like, yeah, I'm holding my left click. I'm shooting on him, and just completely pumps down this Reckless side. 5 kills for 1.
And now they have that 4th Fangtooth. They get the Primordial Blaze. Mumus already starting the Orb Prime up, trying to get this fast enough. Reckless is responding here. They have the ability to get in. They've got the Blast going too if they want to try to stop this. Health bar's a little bit low on the side of Shopkeepers, but I do think it might be a little bold if they go in here, but Yoshi should die pretty quick, especially if Will can get in. Pavey is going to cut that off. They will secure the Orb Prime for themselves, so the team fight is on. If they can get a reset off, they've got the ability to pressure anywhere they want on this map.
I would like to note, Barley did actually have probably the perfect timing to attempt to steal that Orb Prime if he'd wanted to, and mid-air just decided, nope, I'm dashing out, I'm not going to go for the steal. I'm not fully sure why. I mean, I think it probably is game if he falls due to the double buff siege being so oppressive, especially if you already have a man down. But I think he could have gone for it.
I think he could have as well, but I agree with what you're saying. I think if he dies in that, or if they lose too many members, it might just be game, set, match, and tournament set match. That's something we need to continue to press and talk about. We are in our double elimination stage, but we are doing losers brackets. All of the teams we are showing have had a loss. You lose one game today, your PCCX run is over, so you must be cautious. You must be calculated if you're going to coin flip a game.
Yeah, and it might honestly come down to that at this point, because it's looking pretty cursed for Reckless to play into this. You have Drongo with Primal and Orb, and you're just behind across the map. I don't know if the gadget has reached the point that she can permanently just clear these waves. We're going to opt into a really early gadget ult to clear. Mumus overheating in the jungle.
Oh, they do catch him, so that's pretty good for Reckless. That's going to stop some of their ability to spread this out and pressure all of the lanes at a time. They do still have the Orb Prime buff, as it looks like none of them are... Oh, they do have Primordial as well. Here comes the Coliseum onto Drizziest, who's going to have to flash himself out. Pavey needs to run as well. The numbers advantage not in his favor, but the tether gonna go a little wide. Cursor on the backside of it, but he does got nobody there except for Plato to peel him if they decide to go in him, if he walks in on this trap. But they will catch the tier 2 over on the duo side of the map and just continue to press themselves forward here. They should still have about a minute and a half on this Orb Prime buff.
Yeah, but the Primal is gone, and it is very difficult to siege because they wouldn't have Primal buff, and even though they have Orb buff, even if they do a normal siege where they would put three of their team in mid, one of them in off lane, they're going to be fighting at a disadvantage somewhere, and it's pretty difficult to siege into a man-to-man disadvantage.
Mumus has respawned, but he is on the other side of the map, having to run all of the way up across to the enemy in him to join his team at this spot. Will has peeled off to the right side to clear that wave, so we'll see if they can pressure and seize this in him. XP Code kind of hovering around, looking for that hook if he can hit a big one. Reckless may be looking to start this fight, or if Volley can hit a good tether, but that's going to go wide as well. Will comes in, but misses the forward crunch. So a lot of attempts, a lot of looking, nothing quite landing for either team so far.
And noting
Welcome to the Prime Championship Circuit. My name is Ardog with a Triple G, and this is PCCX LCQ Day 2. We have already found our top 8 auto-qualified teams. We saw who's made it through from yesterday, and that is Sixth Sense and Enlightened. But we're still missing 2 more. Today is our quest to find out who makes it out of these games today and gets to be a part of the main event on January 11th and 12th. Gamers, it's time to take it home. There isn't much time left, and time is our most precious finite resource. We have 2 games left on broadcast, and this is your last chance to qualify. Don't underestimate the power of competition to drive success, catalyze growth, and progress. There's a gamer mindset you absolutely gotta get into, and that is up until you lose the game, you're winning. Here in the PCC, anything can absolutely happen. And for me personally, I want to see the underdog breakthrough. I want to see the dark horse cause mayhem. I want to see the sleeper team wreak havoc. Let's start the second half by introducing our top-notch desk analysts, highly recognized in the community. Of course, let me start off with Lakeinator, the Egonator, PCC 7, as well as the first ever PCC champion, ADC, and currently playing for D-Lab and the Lake and Dirty Lake and the boys. How are you, Lake?
I'm doing pretty good. You know, I'm excited for these games. I actually think these games will be really good. I'm really excited for these ones.
Were you not excited about the first ones?
I mean, this is like the do or die moment, right? It's either you make it on or you don't right here, okay?
Right. And then, of course, to my right, we got Sai. Let's welcome the mid laner for the Primals, the Primal Orangutan, revered by the other creatures in the Forest of Sanctuary, weaving through mid lane with agility, outwitting anyone who challenges him. How are you, Sai?
Doing great. It's great to be the peak of the forest, and I'm excited to watch these games. It's a shame I wasn't on desk for the first 2. I'm excited to get into these.
That's right. And we're in round 4 of the losers bracket. There are 4 teams left, but we want more games, right? For our third game of the day, we're actually watching a featured game between Shopkeepers and Sixth Sense. So we know Sixth Sense kind of made it through already, but we want to show you a banger of a match. I kind of want to pick your guys' brains a little bit. Now that the meta has kind of changed, and we have a new hero, where does Yin fit in this?
Yin is a very unique hero because she can be kind of played either a squishy or a bruiser, and just the capabilities to reflect back abilities or auto attacks back at your opponents can sometimes just turn the tide of the battle. The best example you can see, like maybe Revenant. Revenant shoots a 4th shot. If Yin reflects that, someone on the other team is gonna implode. So it's very interesting.
Yeah, I super agree with all the points that they've made. Another big thing to look out for on that character is the mobility that it offers. With them removing the sky cap on the map, being able to get over some of these walls, find really interesting and unique ways to interact with lanes. I think the character is super strong in the jungle position. You can find value out of it in solo, and I think there's going to be some niche ADCs out there that find value in it.
And speaking of Yin and heroes, let's talk about the draft. Let's show the draft choice plays, please. Now, this is Sixth Sense, that name is so difficult to say, versus the Shopkeepers. We already saw what Shopkeepers were able to pull out. Mumus was able to pull out the Countess, but what are you guys expecting to see as we head into this draft?
I mean, I'm expected to see like a draft style of some kind, you know, with Bad Yoshi and Cursor and Mumus. I'm expecting to see maybe a Chimera, Countess, you know, picking up the Decker for Bad Yoshi, something along those lines on those comfort picks. Who knows, maybe Cursor pulls out the Revenant, but we'll see where things head to.
I have to agree with Lake. There's going to be characters that are played. Everybody's going to have to select one. I'm guessing that we're going to see something super aggressive on Nugslet. The same thing with Mumuse. Both of these guys want to interact with your lanes as much as possible. Neither really are interested in farming too much. They're more about getting laners ahead or getting themselves ahead through kills. We see the Saurus ban first from the side of Shopkeepers. I think it's a super good ban. Not only coming out of the jungle, but the way that it abuses off-lane picks, and then that Richter to shut down that super aggression over in the dual lane. You know, one Richter hook is
and especially in the right hands, both of these heroes can be absolute monsters. I always think that Zarus has one of the top 10 ultimates in the game, able to just lock down and engage on anybody that he wants and not miss doing it. But the thing with Richter too is it's more of like a skill shot, right? So this is definitely something they don't want to see in the game, and they don't want to take they want to take that choice away from the other side. You're seeing this stapler pick, the support, the Decker. What do we make of that?
Yeah, I think that once again, it's Bad Yoshi's comfort support. He really enjoys the Decker, so maybe they just locked it in just to get it on their team, because Decker's just a solid all-around pick to always have in your pocket. They answer with the Seraph Muriel, which is actually a really strong dive from Sixth Sense, so they can really dive that backline and then send the Muriel in there to knock everyone up. So there's a really strong synergy over there with Sixth Sense.
Yeah, and that Seraph is also one of like Nugslet's main picks. It can also be shuffled over to the offlane as well. Having that Muriel combo too, like Lake was saying, it's just so volatile. Once the second these two characters are level 6, they can really take any engagement they want, even if they're down numbers, because you play that Muriel knockup, and then you have a consistent recycling of shields coming on top of you, which is super good. I'm expecting Shopkeep to... Okay, I guess they're already picking up. Picking up that Drongo is super smart. The second that Seraph does land on you or is on you, you put that silence field on your feet, and there's not much you can do after. That Belica is also great for that post-land knockup and actually keeping that character out from being able to just get constant.
I really like the picks so far from Sixth Sense as well, with the Kwong, and we know what Kwong is able to do. He's got a nice little buff since this last recent balance patch, but they're going to take away that crowd control monster that is Terra off the board.
Yeah, if you know anything about Sixth Sense and Peak, Quang is one of his probably most enjoyed characters. He will play that character anywhere. He'll play it support. So he's very comfortable on that character. And as it comes into the meta, he's always one of the first players to jump on it. So we'll kind of see how they respond to the Quang, because it's a lot of dive. They can just send the Quang, Seraph, and Muriel into the backline. If they catch someone, it's going to be a bit of a struggle. But at the same time, they have Belica and Decker, so they can also peel. But at the end of the day, you can't peel everyone off at once. So we'll see where it heads to.
And then we see that Murdoch ban as well, following the Terror from the Sixth Sense side. Shop bans Murdoch. It's a great poke option to get out from the Drongo. But that Grim Muriel combo, I think as these games get with better and better players in them on both teams, you're going to see this Grim Muriel a lot. It's very abusive in lane. You insta-clear the wave. You have great poke, long range, and it's just super safe. After you see that Belica is going mid, it opens up that Grim pick for that dual lane play again. Just because the Belica is kind of the Grim, but once you have that Decker, it's not like they're putting that Decker in.
Yeah, I really like that they're taking away, they pick up the Drongo, they take away the Murdoch, and then Sixth Sense picks up the Grim. But as a response, Shopkeepers are taking this big monster that is Sevrog. Where does Sevrog, I guess, how does he look in the meta right now? I haven't seen a lot of him.
Yeah, Sevrog is currently struggling in the meta. There's a lot of changes that affected him, and then with all the changes coming to Kwong and Kwong kind of becoming this tank bruiser, I wonder if there is a world where Sevrog can match the Kwong. So it's kind of hard to tell, but a lot of people are opting not to go with the Sevrog. But then you also see the response of the Chimera from the Shopkeepers, and once again, that's another comfort pick for Mumuse. So we'll kind of see how this all plays out, but maybe they wanted a frontline beefy to handle the dives, or I'm trying to understand why the Sevrog, but maybe there was some good matchup or good team fighting.
Yeah, I do think generally, like here, the Sevrog is probably the worst pick they've picked yet. The character's just not in a great spot, and they have a ton of mobility coming from the side of Sixth Sense. I don't know where this Sevrog is going to be or what he's going to be able to do. He's going to be open to ganks. The Kwong just keeps him tethered. Howie shows up, boops him away. He's just going to get knocked around, and he's not going to have the time that he needs with the team comp that he's playing around to actually get stacks and become relevant. That Chimera doesn't really pair super well with anything other than their dual lane. But again, their dual lane is constantly going to be on the back foot because they're playing into a Grimuriel. So a little weird last picks from Shopkeep. I'm super interested in seeing how Sixth Sense exploits this Sevrog, because I think it is something, like Blake said, that coming into this PC is probably in its worst place.
And now that the drafts are finalized, which comp are you favoring and why?
I'm going to have just to go with the Sixth Sense team comp. It just kind of solid all around. It has a lot of tools at its disposal, whereas Shopkeeper kind of just has a frontline Sevrog that can't really do much into a high mobility team. So I just can see him getting whittled down, and he also has to itemize more into magical armor rather than physical armor in this game, and kind of doing magical armor on Sevrog sometimes feels a bit awkward. So we'll see how this transitions to.
Yeah, and like I said, they could flex this Seraph over into that off lane and force the Sevrog to early build 8 armor versus MR. You might just see the Kwang over there, though, and he might just be able to stack it, and then the second he stacks it, he starts getting Sarah tanked. I have to go with Sixth Sense here. I think that this team comp has so many more avenues and chances to actually make plays happen, open up the map. And the way that the meta is currently, it's play fast, get these objectives, take down turrets, move on to the next thing. And I feel like Shopkeepers is not that. Their pieces don't come together into a cohesive teamfight unit, and individually, they're all playing much more scaling. So I think Shopkeepers is probably going to get run into the ground.
This is Shopkeepers versus Sixth Sense. Gosh, it is so difficult to say that. Sixth Sense. But let's throw it over to Spooky, Mars, and F6 to show us the game.
Thank you, as always, to the desk. Fantastic work, as always. F6, you've got a banger of a set coming up here. Say a set, it's a game. These are best of ones, just to make that clear. But Shopkeepers, we saw them just a little bit earlier today. They are looking very good right now. The desk mentioned that they might have a few issues with their composition, but just based on what we've seen, I mean, I've got to expect some great things coming out.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing else to expect but greatness from these teams. I mean, they've made it thus far, being able to challenge each other at this spot, this momentum feature here. Is just already an outstanding achievement. So, but Sixth Sense is nothing to shy away from either. We talked about their comp as well on their side. It's looking exceptionally just kind of devastating. The amount of damage and the amount of just run at you potential that they have is also going to be a game changer and a challenge for the Shopkeepers.
For sure. But one thing that I was looking at in that composition is they do seem to have a lot of peel, F6. That seems like it's a team that might be a little bit difficult to actually approach. Between the Bellica, between the Decker, between the self-peel that this Drongo has, how easy is it to actually run at these guys and just push them down?
It's just going to have to come down to tell, right? Because it also really kind of depends on what the situation is. Like, there's always that possibility of like, yeah, we want to do this, but is the opportunity there to do this? Is everything working in that flow? So I really think it's going to come down to both of these teams playing to that decisive comp of what they're trying to achieve and making sure they're planning ahead. And we know that comes a lot from vision control. And if they don't have any vision control, they really can't plan ahead for that. So I think that's really going to be the main factor to see if these teams can stick to their comp and what they want to do.
Well, credit to your point there. Both of them, actually, Shopkeepers, group up, move aggressively forward, looking for any opportunity they have, plant that ward down early. And it all comes around that planning ahead, making sure you've got that vision control. Vision doesn't last very long. That's taken out there. But shows you that the Shopkeepers are looking to play this a little bit proactively. They want to have a plan for how they're going to approach this. And they know where the Seraph is starting on the map right now. Looks like Moomuse moves over to that side and matches as well.
And it looks like he's trying to match the Seraph here. Starting off with that blue buff, he does lose out on a lot of clear speed here without that red buff. But being a Kai kind of allows, since you already have a pretty decent clear in the jungle, to do this maneuver. And he could potentially look to get an early invade here, especially with that level 2. He's pretty much one of the strongest characters with level 2 when he goes in for those ganks.
Well, there he goes, looking for this 2 camp, to steal some stuff away. Might end up running into Nugget here. He's on his way from clearing. Dooley not in a position to come over. Jumps up and down. Already first skirmish. Drops out here. Nugget takes a lot of damage. Has to blink away. Oh, Moomuse is going to follow this under the tower. But one more shot's going to do it. He doesn't take it. But Magooly comes back around. Finds one shot. Puts Moomuse in the grave.
Oh no, you hate to see it. He did exactly what he was trying to accomplish. Being aggressive, matching that side, invading, and they forced the flash early on. I feel like you should just take the win there, knowing that the Seraph doesn't have flash. You take your reset, do your red side as you see him doing now, but just a little bit of outplay there. But great job of Magooly understanding that was there, being able to rotate, look back to be able to secure that first blood.
Very good awareness from both teams there. We saw mid laner also come up, try to help out Moomuse. A little bit too far away, unfortunately. The pathing a little bit longer. Not all doom and gloom, but Sixth Sense does have pressure on this map right now on both the left side and the right side. You can see these lanes are getting pushed up. Your eyes on that river. You got presence on both sides. Magooly has made a rotation over here. Possibly looking for bad Yoshi early on. Jumps up, avoids most of the damage. Mine not going to get him any closer. Magooly's going to have to walk away.
Yeah, the mine there just got a little bit misplaced, a little bit hit in that wall. If it did just go a little bit further, that was a potential second kill going over towards Sixth Sense. Already off to an exceptional start. You're seeing the aggression coming out of Magooly, just known around the community thus far. Pretty good mid laner, and you're seeing able to push out that Bellica, rotate, and that's what you want to see from your mid laner. Being able to just push that lane and then being able to rotate to help facilitate into the side lane. But Pivy here looking to be weak as Pete goes in for the flash and takes that second kill.
Baby not able to get away from that one. Another kill goes to Sixth Sense. They're starting this game off strong here. F6, no surprise. As mentioned earlier, they are a team that wants to run at you. And that Sevarog, not in the best position in the meta right now. Comes a question, how much can Shopkeepers slow this one down? They've already had one misstep in the mid lane. A little bit over-aggressive. I won't even say Pivy was being over-aggressive there. He was just trying to farm up. You just got to be a lot more careful than that.
Yeah, just a little bit more careful, but they still have time here to turn this around. They do have that late game scale Sevarog, so they do have a little bit of that into their favor there. The real thing is, though, they have to be careful with this Chimera. If Moo's not unable to really get anything in this early stage of the game, he's gonna really fall back inside this mid game here. It's gonna be a pretty tough time, especially if this one goes pretty late.
It's already looking a little tough for Moomuse. Made a couple rotations now, hasn't found a whole lot off of it. Meanwhile, Nugslet says, you know what? If we're going to see Moomuse on the right side, let's try to capitalize. We know we have the pressure. Go ahead and grab this first Fang Tooth. Not even 6 minutes into the game. It's early objective. See a couple bodies rotating in here. Bad Yoshi spots it out, but recognizes they've got no contestation.
I mean, that came down to timing there. They saw Moo on the opposite side of the map. Kwang was able to get a tether to really slow that by a couple seconds, and that was the go, go, go button for Sixth Sense there. They knew they had the smite advantage, and you can see that they're already holding their lanes where they needed to be, and they were able to rotate to help burn that really fast.
And Moo just trying to get something going here, but Manq on the way. That's it being drawn back into the duo lane. That could be what they need. Moomuse finds his first kill, but France is on the rotation. The knockback does hit. Moomuse dangerously low. Only needs one more shot, and France finds it, weaves it between all three. Now let's continue that aggression. Magooly coming on over as well. Make it rain down from the skies. Magooly is here. Knocked back into the lane. That's another one. 5 kills for Sixth Sense.
Oh, man, what a play there. They do end up picking up the Seraph. But the fact of the convergent Magooly, France, just being able to combo there, using the blast back there, using the Howie Mind to boot, making it rain through the fog wall, just outstanding communication and teamwork coming out of that play. And Shopkeepers are looking to try to find something, but every time, 6th Sense just answers back with even more.
You know, if it's a 1-for-1, fine. You take that jungle for jungle, that's okay. But you lost your duo lane, both of them, in the trade as well. And they were already struggling in this lane. The pressure is all in favor of 6th Sense, and these are not the trades you can be taking. Even if they were even, it wouldn't have been a good look. Right now, Shopkeepers really has to maybe slow down a little bit. Stop looking for these aggressive plays in enemy territory.
Yeah, but I mean, in the passerby there, we didn't get to see it, but we did see Paybe being able to get that kill back onto peak there. So we do see a little bit of life going over to this off lane, but back again into this mid lane. Moo does not have ultimate here, and it's a 3v2.
Umius does not like the words that left my mouth. He says, no, we're going to find more fights. Dooley might be the target here. Plato and Mr. Cursor moving forward, and Mr. Cursor finds it with the rad rounds. The tick damage is finally enough to put a third one on the board. They lose Pybee.
They lose Pybee though, so it's a actual 2-for-1 trade. And like I said, it's just been like this for the last 8 minutes. Some way, somehow, 6th Sense just finds a way to still come out on top. Overall, though, it is still a close game. You're seeing the aggressive nature coming out of Shopkeepers here, which I think 6th Sense is answering pretty well. We have to see how this mid game goes, though, because if, like I said before, Shopkeepers, they need to start to find something. Maybe draw back on the aggression at certain moments, because jumping in there, Chimera not level 6, there was not a lot of potential to really capitalize on that play.
6th Sense right now, living up to their name, making some good plays. Shopkeepers, some over-aggressive plays, but there's still time to rein this one back in. We're not even at the 10-minute mark here yet, F6. Pybee has plenty of time to scale up. Moo Muse just needs to hit level 6 and maybe find a little bit more success here. Look at that, a Blink forced out from France over in the dual lane as well. That opens up a little bit more opportunities. There's an opportunity on this right side as well. Pybee being rotated by 3 people, half health already. Nugslet able to find that last bit of damage. He's going to go under the tower, up and back on out. Pybee gets to keep his life.
And a 3-man rotation for that Seth. He's already getting boxed up by this Kwang. What else more do you want to throw at him? But really, they're going after this mini prime there. They needed to get that congestion. They did show on that side of the map. You're going to see some conversion here. Chimera knows it's happening, but I don't think there's a lot of potential to go in. It is a 4v2. Load of rotation coming in from the Decker and the Sev, but should not be in time as they do secure the second neutral objective of the game.
It's another one going the way of 6th Sense. It's good map pressure. They know that Fangtooth isn't up yet. Go ahead and make a free trade there. Maguli gets aggressed on. He's going to be just fine, though. There's nothing for Shopkeepers to take in return for that mini prime going down. The map just feels so stripped down and barren with nothing for them to play for. You've got your side buffs, you've got the cyan buff and the gold buff, but that's not going to do enough for you. Make It Rain's going to put some hurt onto Plato when he comes through, but it's not going to be enough to get him away, but a good stun, not enough. Nugslet puts him down. There's no more fight coming out from Shopkeepers.
Oh man, unlucky pick there. Dude, the Lunks is in a pretty forward position here. Not a lot of health. Second Fangtooth also coming up here any second now. But with this mid tier 2 possibly going down, that's going to open up the map a lot for the side of 6th Sense to be able to capitalize here. But they need to get back to go over to that second Fangtooth.
Fangtooth will be coming up. Mumuse is level 6. He's got the ultimate available. He's slightly behind, though, and these fights haven't been going the way of Shopkeepers. I don't know if they can take a full fight around this Fangtooth. Likely won't have all members here, but as I say that, we already see Pybee actually deciding to dish that right side and come over. He wants to make sure that his team has some opportunity to get something on the board. France can be the pick target first. Good cage comes down. He's got nowhere to go. Subjugate just locks him in. Manq comes down from the skies. It's not enough to save his ADC's life. Does get to keep his own. Walks out at half health. This could be the play for Shopkeepers now.
That was a great play there. Being aggressive when you have the numbers. They knew that Grim did not have the flash there, so they just executed right away. Muriel ult is now also down, so they turn over to Nugslet and they just completely destroy him. Maguli in the background trying to keep safe, but Paybe creating that space, pushing him back This should be a second Fang Tooth going towards the way of Shopkeepers, but look at that off lane. It's getting so much pressure.
IB's decided you can pressure me all you want, but I'm going to pressure you right back. Well, they say, all right, that's fine by us. Fangtooth still hasn't gone down. It's taken a long time. Finally drops down. Same time, though, that tier 2 tower on the right side just brought attention to it. Not looking so great. Oh, my God! No way they turn it around, Mr. Cursor! Saves Plato's life and puts Maguli in the dirt!
Oh man, the Neuro Disruptor, and 1 HP in a dream there, living it out. But huge shout out here. We see the split push being accomplished by Peak here. Not only does he get the T1, but he gets the T2. And this is really crucial time for him to do so, because now he's going to be able to spread that throughout the rest of the lane. He does not have to worry about these towers. He can't even give up his T1 if he wants to really start to pressure out this dual lane, if they want to start to open this map up a little bit more for 6 cents. But Shopkeepers more into this game now than they've ever been since the minute 1.
This has been fantastic for both sides here. 6 cents, get a couple towers for their side, allows Atlas Quang to rotate out. He can now be a lot more active. At the same time, Shopkeepers can't be too upset with it either. They got a Fangtooth, they finally got their first objective, and they got a few kills. They're only 2 behind 6 cents now. This game is evened up just a little bit. The main difference now is those 2 towers. It'll be how can Peak put his influence on the rest of this map to keep things swinging in favor of 6 cents.
Maguli, though, trapped between the 7, actually makes the outplay here. Just being able to just walk around without even noticing. No vision, just luck. All you need sometimes. But still, the wave state of this match is pretty decent. We see the Kwang looking at that sign buff can possibly make this rotation with a teleporter, maybe assist in this lane, as we do see France is getting bodied inside this dual lane.
Plato's on his way as well. That's going to be France going down. No white flag to wave on this one, but Nugslet coming on in, say, all right, you want the fight? Here it is. Moves on forward, looking, not able to find enough damage. Maguli is here. Drop the rock. Make it rain. Bad Yoshi gets clapped in the fight, and now it moves under the tower. Looking for some more. Plato drops. Just like that, they turn it around. 6 cents have reminded them who's in the driver's seat.
And we knew that was coming at any moment. We saw Peak. We saw that for 30 seconds. Maybe it's just the caster curse going towards the side of Shopkeepers, but they did not answer enough. It's in the time, as now you're going to see this duo lane. This T1 ace going to be up for grabs. And that's going to be a lot more of economy shift. Not just the kills that they got, but now a tower and the goalie just packing up there, stacking up there for 6 cents.
It's very important for Shopkeepers to be able to leverage what they got around that Fangtooth. Now it feels like 6 cents have just kind of pushed it back to where it was. It'll never be exactly where it was. They've got a Fangtooth passive buff now. But they lost all the momentum that they had gained. They weren't even able to push down on that right side to get a tier 1 down. Pybe opted for the jungle, recognizing that Peak, if he showed up there, was just going to out-trade him. He doesn't have enough room to get away. So now, Shopkeepers have to find a way to play on this map. There's still 3 tier 1 towers. If they can find any of these F6, that can be some good gold income into their pockets. They got the opportunity.
They do. They have to find a way to control this map a little bit more. As we talked about, 6 cents open up the map already just through that middle inhibitor, but now with all these T1s, but look at, oh no, the flash failed!
Well, that's going to get you every time there, isn't it, F6? You flash into a wall, you will die on landing.
You will die there, but unfortunate because now the mini prime is now open. They don't have that big body to really poke through that corner, but it's going to come down to a man-to-man. It is still a 4v4 over on this side of the map, so they do still have a possibility to fight with Grim being on the opposite side.
I mean, very quick, and Maguli says he wants a little bit more. Takes to the skies, drops the damage down. Bad Yoshi not in a position to keep on going, and Moo Muse gets dropped. While Peak in the back, just running straight at them, takes down that Yoshi, and Maguli puts the finishing touch on Mr. Cursor.
Oh man, they thought they had to fight in that tight quarter, but not enough damage. Reversal of fortune changing that man's life. Nugsly being able to escape there with a sliver of health just to be able to back out. Muriel's shields coming in play.
got to be watching for those. And it's like you said, they didn't have Pipey, so they didn't have that front line. It's a risky fight to take, even if it is 4v4, because Sixth Sense just does have an advantage right now. The numbers may be even, but the gold, the items, the levels, they are not.
Not at all, but the third Fang Tooth is up for grabs here. Like we just talked about, the third Fang Tooth buff is pretty unique, being able to get that permanent buff all around. No team is close to getting it yet, but this one favors you to get that just by one more.
Ivy, all the way on the right side. Shopkeepers not looking to contest this one whatsoever. They said we'll give up second Fang Tooth, 8% out of combat move speed now for Sixth Sense. One more, and they get the combat buffs. And the next one, that's going to be a primal one as well, because that is the third Fang Tooth overall on the map. Meanwhile, Muumuu's getting run down. Unfortunately, Magooly's going to pick that one up. One less jungler on the map. A little bit more freedom for Sixth Sense now.
He just cannot play this game right now. Sixth Sense has his number. They're answering everything that he's trying to do, and they're coming out on top every single time. Like for like one or a few plays there when he has his team around him. But if he gets caught up by himself, it's just an all-in character, this Chimera. So once he goes in, that's all he can do. And if he does not have that backline support, he's just dead to rights, especially if he doesn't have the numbers.
I mean, the whole team draft feels like it should be playing together, right? Because Shopkeepers have drafted this kind of heal-heavy team that can make the engages from Sixth Sense really difficult. But so far, Sixth Sense have been the ones controlling the map and getting to every single objective, every single area first. And Shopkeepers have to engage on them, which is completely antithetical to what it feels like the draft is trying to do.
I mean, it comes down to Shopkeepers. I mean, they do have that, right? This sturdy front to back. But hold on a second here. We do see another one. And Muumuu's once again here, Spooky.
He just came back and he's already on the grayscale. Magooly, little under half health, but he's feeling just fine right now. Quick pick for the Sixth Sense. They can now start looking over this tower. Magooly's going to take to the skies, drop some damage down. Unslit targeting out Pipey here in France. Just dumps the damage in. Nothing he can do. Now a 5v3 around this tier 2. Still, Sixth Sense not looking to pull the trigger just yet. They're happy to just extend the lead with the kill.
There's not too much I can get from this play when it comes to his neutral objective, right? They did get their picks there. They did get to get some more gold into their pockets, but the Fang Tooth being down, the Ore Prime being down, unable to really push through the rest of the structures as well. Doesn't really give them too much, but still, it's just one of those plays that you're just sending a message, right? That, hey, we can take these fights whenever we want to. That Seraph is going in knowing that she has the Muriel Sheets on the back. She also has that damage behind her with that Grim and Howie. The plays they're making are very coordinated right now. You never see them just one by one making a play. It's all just getting those ultimates together with a cumulative effort.
Exactly. And Magooly and Peak right now definitely deserve some shout outs. 7-2 on that mid lane, 5-1 for the off laner. They are a terror. Make it 6-1. I'm so sorry, Peak. I did not mean to disrespect your numbers. He's going to tick one up. This guy is just a raid boss right now. He's going to go ahead and just move into 2 more enemies. Subjugate comes down. Good. CC, but Muumuu's up and down. Gets knocked up, and ManQ is here to fight as well. Muumuu's gets cut down. It's a 7-1 quad.
And they just keep going in here. Now looking to be aggressive. Magooly picks up the kill on Yoshi. Huge colossal blow though. But look at Cursor fight for his life. And look at one more shot from Magooly. No!
Mr. Cursor finally shuts him down, puts the damage out, he loses his life for it, and Peak is still here, putting out some peak damage numbers. This fight just cannot end. It's ManQ who finally picks up the kill onto the Sevarog. Tank no longer. Sixth Sense are so far ahead, they could just take an extended fight under 2 inhibitors.
They just do not care. The disrespect here is a little bit crazy as you're just fighting underneath inhibs, fighting even with tier 2 towers still up. They do not care. They know they have complete control of this game, but they need to be careful. If they keep overextending, they are putting themselves in a position to get wiped. It was looking a little squirrely there when they were diving those inhibs. So if they do make one of those big mistakes, it is 21 minutes in. The big objectives are up. Shopkeepers can find a steal here, find a decent fight to change this game and turn it back into their favor.
They could. They have to find it first. Question is, how do that? Where are the tools coming from? Because, I mean, Mobius is 4 levels down on Peak, 2 levels down on the Xerath in the jungle. It's so difficult to find anything happening. Bad Yoshi has to blink away. It's followed immediately, and Peak just says, no, sir. We want to play for an objective. We're going to have the numbers advantage for it. Mr. Cursor being looked at. He's got enough distance and enough height to stay away.
Several over in the opposite side of the lane, and this looks like they're going to clear out this red side jungle from Moomoo's. And we talked about how he's been having a struggle in this game thus far, and that's going to even make it more hard for him to really get back in here. But Primordial Fangtooth looks like to be the target, and this could be their 3rd one to get that permanent buff.
And it does not seem the Shopkeepers have any interest in contesting this one. Well, maybe I shouldn't say any interest. Rather, they don't have any opportunity to contest this one. It's 24-8 on the scoreboard right now. 22, almost and a half minutes into the game. And 6 Cents are very firmly in the driver's seat. They have taken complete control of this. And for them right now, it's only a matter of playing the macro correctly. Take the objectives, move from one end to the other, and make sure you're not giving Shopkeepers anything left on the board to try to take up, try to take back in their favor. Meanwhile, Peak just continuing what he does, split pushing around as Pybe now gets rotated on. Blink straight into Maguli. This is not where you want to be. One more down.
Not looking good for Shopkeepers. They lost their big take Sevarog. Mr. Cursor is the only one here looking to defend against Peak, but with that Primordial Blaze, and we've seen the damage output that he can do with that Kwang, he's going to need some help over there.
He's not looking to try to contest this by himself, but Moomuse is trying to contest this Orb Prime by himself. He's going for it. He's very low. Can he find the hunt?
He got it!
Yes, he can! Moomuse steals it away! Says you will not get the final objective. Not today!
And that is a lot of siege pressure that they needed. And now 3 members of Shopkeepers have that Orb Prime. They are still in this game. What a steal coming out of Moomoo's.
I can't believe he was allowed to do that. He just jumps in and had 2,000-3,000 health, and he just walks around, regenning until he can hunt that one down. Shopkeepers, by the skin of their teeth, are still in this game. There's still a mountain to climb over. It's gold, it's bodies and blood, but by God, they've still got the climb.
They still got some fight left in them here, ladies and gentlemen. This is PCCX, of course, so nothing but the best. Even when you look like you're down in the count, there's always a way. And like I said, at any moment, this fight can change. This game can change. And it's anybody's game here, as we do see Shopkeepers with a little bit more life looking to try and fight back.
It's a huge Shopkeeper. 6 Cents now have been slowed down. Primal Fangtooth, not going to be much of a factor here. Keepers still have all 3 of their inhibitors. But it's a question of how many times can they make a play like that? How many times can they rip something away? Because mind you, this was a very good play. It was fantastic for them. But it was a steal. It wasn't like they won a fight and made a play off of it. It's just keeping them alive a little bit longer. Peak. It's around the Decker cage. Lots of focus put down. Man-Q. Reversal of Fortune comes through. And now Moomuse is a big target. Jumps up and down. Blinks away to get out of danger. Peak somehow has not killed them just yet. Ivy coming on in. Pushing Nugslit back. Says you cannot come up here. Jump is good. Still,
oh my goodness.
Full rosters, but Mr. Cursor finally puts one down. Nugslit drops dead. That's a Shopkeeper's advantage on the board.
They do have the numbers advantage now. What a great kind of separation that we're able to create there. You're seeing them start to group up a little bit more, taking a little bit smarter approach to these fights, and they still have Orb Prime here. So they have a lot of towers to go through, but they can still make a push. We see Moo diving into that back line.
Does not want to let France play this game. Pybe's in the back as well to help him out, but it's not going to be enough. They both go down, drop in the blink of an eye, and is that tower still standing?
It is.
Tragic. I mean, oh my gosh.
What do you see here? Plato. Oh my goodness.
What? I thought he disengaged, thought he was out of there, but Plato sticks around a little too long. And now Shopkeepers are once again right back where they started here, F6.
They are. They're now back on that back foot. But like we said, we've seen them make a play before. Can they do it again? More than likely lose this inhibitor as you see that full court press coming out of 6th Sense. They do still have some damage though as they take down France, being able to take down that inhibitor.
That is a massive pick right then and there. Mumuse has respawned, and he's got eyes on Peak. He's very low. Maybe I don't know about this one, man. Maybe you call it off. He decides to come back to his team, and somehow, some way, as you said, F6, they make a play and they keep that inhibitor alive. This one is a barn burner.
Oh man, these guys are just not giving up. Maguli though, low mana, not a lot of threat as he's able to just kind of run away there. Subjugate does miss, but neutral objectives are coming back on the board here. Spooky, Primordial Fang, and or Prime Moose looks like he wants to make the play. He's sweeping. They have control of this pit, and they're going straight for this Primordial Fang Teeth.
Tier 1 goes down. Nugslet is in position, wants to try to make a play, see if he can do the steal himself. And Q and Pete coming on in. Nugslet rotating around. Bad Yoshi spotted him. He's by himself. Plato getting engaged on, being pushed away. Nugslet now comes on in. Reversal of fortune. It is secured by Shopkeepers. But can they get back out? Can they keep their lives? Oh, Nugslet, Mancu goes down as he tries to get out of danger. France, a little bit low. Subjugate doesn't quite connect. And Peak are still deep in the enemy territory. Cage, step right. He can't get to his target. Now Nugslet might be taking some damage from the minions. And it's Muse who gets the kill for that one. All of a sudden, it's a 3-for-0 around the Primal Fangtooth. The Shopkeepers want more.
They're looking down the left side here, but they do lose the middle inhibitor. France, no flash as they're trying to burn through one more auto, and he is down for the count. Moose is hungry. The flash from Yoshi, but it misses and doesn't go through. But there's the Primordial Blaze. Does get the kill.
France trades it back, but it leaves Maguli on his own to defend this inhibitor. It's going to be a reset coming out from Plato there. He's back in the base. Make sure to defend the core. Can't let those minions push up any further. Mr. Cursor! Can't be lazy back in there. You better get out of dodge, my friend. Luckily, Maguli doesn't seem to be interested in trying to take up too much of a fight here. Doesn't know where the rest of the team is, but he steps too far forward. Good in mind. Goes up into the skies. Make it rain. Puts a lot of damage out. He's going to be just fine.
Forces a flash there on Drongo, but with his teammates coming there, was that the idea? I think they possibly could have killed that howitzer there to give them the advantage for that big orb prime, but nonetheless, the middle inhibitor, it went down. 6th Sense still made a play there, so they do have that wave advantage in the mid lane, if not answer to, but they're gonna have to fight for that orb prime on the side of Shopkeepers, so they have to make a decision here. How are they going to play this? How are they going to wave manage themselves to be able to still contest this Orb Prime?
It really feels like committing that hard to France might have been a mistake. So they might have been able to push a little bit harder had they had everyone healthy. But Nugslet coming in forward, gets locked down, blown up in a heartbeat. Plato reminds it that you do not dive into my team. That's what we're expecting from the draft.
They pick apart the jungler here, down for another 50 seconds. They have the smite advantage. They still have that Primordial Blaze. They are looking like they can come back from this game. But the question is, can 6th Sense pull out a magic trick to be able to stop them from getting Orb Prime?
If Shopkeepers are able to seal the deal of this, this is the comeback of the tournament, honestly. There's a lot of vision down. Primor is here. Go ahead and start this one up. Is Shopkeepers who are starting this. Peak, as always, on that left side, just trying to push things up so you can take a trade objective for objective here. Plato, not a great spot. Maguli looking, or Prime goes down. Now they've got to reset and defend their base. Peak has brought the entirety of the minion wave, and Plato has gone down. Everyone else looks to reset. Peak have to clear out of there very quickly. Inhib goes down. Peak Still in a bad spot, but a blink is good. Moving forward is all of Shopkeepers. They just need a subjugate, but they can't quite find it. The dashes are too good. The slow field comes out from Maguli. This might be a bait for Sixth Sense to pull Shopkeepers to a bad spot. Lots of damage, and France picks up the first one. 2 of them are down. Now Mr. Cursor trades it back. ADC is dropped on the side of Sixth Sense, but he's gonna fall down on the other side as well. Nugslet gets the shield, keeps himself alive. Really wants to push on forward. He's still got 4 members. It's a 4v2, and this Sevarog's not looking too healthy. Call it 1.5 at this point. Walk into the core. Pybee still keeps his life, but the minions are here. Do they have the wave clear to support and an off laner? This is gonna be tough. Sixth Sense don't want to commit. They're gonna pull this one back as Plato's up, and they still have more time.
Oh man, this game's an absolute banger. One stop after the other. You feel like Sixth Sense finally makes the play to close this game out, but then somehow, some way, the Shopkeepers just find it to stay alive. I've never seen somebody fight so much in my life to keep themselves in this game. They're really pushing themselves to be qualified for the top 12.
It's the last chance qualifier F6. That name carries some weight. Shopkeepers have to win. They gotta stay in this one if they want to move on. They are fighting tooth and nail right now. Sixth Sense fighting back quite effectively, but they are struggling for every inch of ground. Primal Fangtooth up. Both teams will coalesce right here in the pit. You're gonna see some fire. You're gonna see some blood. The Shopkeepers just looking for a way to get things started as Sixth Sense are hunting.
They are controlling this side of the pit. They are looking for anything. Moo Moose and Nugslet do collide by the stairs, but nothing yet, not too much. And none of these teams want to make the mistake here. They know this is for the game, and this at any moment can land. But here comes that stun ball, but no initiation. They still need to manage the wave onto that dual lane side. So Shopkeepers really can't press the go button as they would like to.
This is a tough spot for the Shopkeepers to be in. Fortunately for them, they are fighting on the side that they need to be on to keep that wave in check. But Nugslet has recognized the Shopkeepers have pulled away into the mid lane. Starts up that Fangtooth just a little bit. Moomuse says, all right, let's go ahead and get this party started. Drops onto Maguli, takes to the skies, gets himself up. No kills come through from it, but they do take the tools down. Nugslet goes on forward, and Mumu says, all right, let's have at it then. He's getting low, but his team is right here. Pybee is not here any longer. Nugslet keeps his life just barely. No, he gets away and burns to death. Bad Yoshi gets that one. It's a 1-for-1 trade. Notably, the jungler, the Sixth Sense, is down. No hunt available.
Cursor looking for something, and he goes with that shrapnel blast to pick up the solo polo inside mid lane, and it's now a 4v3 jungler advantage towards the Shopkeepers.
You gotta be watching for that. You know, you can outburst the ADC, but he's gonna out DPS you if you're a mage. Mr. Cursor goes ahead and makes Julie curse his existence for taking that fight. Now an advantage of 1 number, the Shopkeepers. That inhibitor is still down, but they've got some room to play with. They can get to that primal in time.
Grabbing some supplies.
That's one of the biggest advantages right now the Shopkeepers have, is that inhibitor being down, so they have to answer to that wave, biding a couple more seconds. The Seraph should be able to contest this if they don't start right now onto this Primordial Fangtooth. It's still going to come down for a Smite versus Smite, and they do have the numbers advantage, but Pybee is still slow as he's just coming out of base.
He's on his way, but it's going to take him some time. Already members of Sixth Sense are here. The hunt advantage is still here for Shopkeepers. They gotta do it quick. They secure it. It's just in time for Nugslet to arrive. They're gonna look for the fight afterwards. Man Q's a target. Oh, what a knockup! That's gonna be death for 2 members! Make it 3! Everybody's just dropping down! Shopkeepers find a massive swing!
Moo Moose on the hunt for the Quang. Maguli is the last member standing in this mid lane. Peak on the run, just trying to create some space. Right now, Shopkeepers have all the advantage, but look at the damage coming out of Maguli to force them back.
Not enough to find the kill. It is enough to slow down this push. He is just trying to make sure there are no minions to help the Shopkeepers push, and he's on the inhibitor right now, fighting Moobuse. This guy just does not care about what is happening behind him. He will find his target, and he's just going for it.
Oh my goodness, man. And actually, Peak is winning this fight. Moomoo's trying to fight for his life. It's either who runs out of health or who runs out of mana, because Peak is awfully low on that aspect. But Colico misses as he goes in and is still continuing this fight.
He is still wanting a little bit more, and take a look. Mr. Cursor has come around. He's going to find some shots into Peak. You can run from the jungler, but you can't run from me. He finds the shots, and now they're right here where they want to be. The Orb Prime is what Shopkeepers are looking for. They had to steal it away the first time. This time, they want to do it the right way. Take it for themselves. Look how quick it burns.
Xerath is still in the way to play this game, but the Orb Prime is secured. All inhibitors are up for Shopkeeper, and this is their game to lose. Can 6 Cents find a defense? They have been on the attack this entire game, but now they are the ones on the back foot.
6 Cents have found their own fortunes being reversed back onto them. The Shopkeepers are the gatekeepers as well. They are not allowing this team to push for the victory. Somehow, they have primed themselves start looking for one of their own. There's still some tier 2 towers here, F6. This is by no means a quick and easy push. There is some stuff to work through. 6 Cents, they're more than happy to watch those towers burn down just to see some time taken away from this Orb Prime.
The big thing is here, both teams have that three Fang too, so they don't both have that buff. So it's a pretty much even playing field considering that. So it's back to just item and just play differential. When it comes down to 6 Cents, like you said, it's okay to lose those tier 2s. They just need to bide as much time away from this Orb Prime that they can. But it looks like Shopkeepers are taking a little bit slow. Moomoo's a little bit behind though, so they have a slow push to see how they fare against this siege.
Shopkeepers can be taking their time. Notably, Peak is here for this siege. A lot of times on these groupings, he's been out on his own, pushing up a different wave. Not this time. He's recognized his presence is needed for the fight. Plato, on this left side by himself. Be a little bit risky to have the mid laner all the way over there. Shopkeeper's going to step forward, take down this tier 2. As expected, no real contention.
Not at all, but Play-Doh is going to have a little bit of advantage on that left-hand side, being able to push that in, so they do have to answer. They have their regen going towards their favor with this Orb Prime, as long as Play-Doh does not get picked, and this is that defense mounting. They do not have any type of pressure or wave to push towards that other side, so they only have 2 lanes to really be working with here. They do have the wave clear on 6 Cents to really stop them from full on committing, but if they get any moment at all, but hold on a second, Yoshi bats, and this is not looking good because now they're at a numbers disadvantage.
Really, he's going to recognize it, drops to the skies, and Mr. Cursor is down for the count. That's a massive pick, and just like that, 2 of them drop. It is good to buy some time, but Mr. Muse is trying to buy a little bit more. He gets burned down. And just like that, F6, one singular back, a man disadvantage, and the Shopkeepers' chances may have just crumbled before their eyes.
Oh, that is going to come to haunt them here, because now this is a dead inhibitor in the mid lane. They have no wave clear to stop this, and the damage is insane on 6 Cents. And I believe this is that final push here, Spooky.
All 5 members of 6 Cents wanting to move on forward. It would have to be a hero play. Pybee getting melted down, has to blink back until it jumps into the cage. Core still alive for right now, but those death timers extremely long. Another 30 seconds before anyone comes up to help these 2. And this mini wave has just arrived. 6 Cents pushing forward, take down Pybee and take down the core. 6 Cents in 40 grueling minutes finally secure themselves the win.
I have no words. Oh man, no. Shopkeepers fought the entire time and they had the game. They just needed the Decker to stay there, just needed that little extra ability to just put down the cage, create a little bit of space, provide some CC. but she backed when she didn't need to. But GG's all around. What a game there, Spooky.
Fantastic game all around. And honestly, if they were going to have Decker back, maybe they could have just taken a few steps back as well, not made themselves such easy targets. But you live and you learn, F6. That does it for this game. And honestly, I believe we only have one more game today. And that is so heartbreaking, F6. Like, if only there was another place where we could watch, like, another game of Predecessor here in the PCC. Wouldn't that be amazing?
Now we do have a second channel with more games if you guys haven't seen it yet. But don't worry, though. January 11th and 12th, we're definitely going to have more games coming your way as well.
Oh, hang on now. We have a second channel. That's right, Pred PCC 2. I'm going to be heading over there. So let's kick this back to the desk and see what's next.
Thank you so much, Spooky and F6. Welcome back to the desk. My name is Ardog with the Triple G's, and I'm with Lakeinator and Sai. What a game 3. It absolutely left me on the edge of my seat. I'm so glad we got a chance to actually look at that game, because it really could have gone either way. But Lake and Sai, what went wrong for the Shopkeepers, and what went right for 6th Sense?
I think it just comes down to, just teams being more organized and more practice. 6th Sense has put in the effort to try to improve as a team. I'm not too sure how much effort has been put from the Shopkeepers, but from my perspective, that game was, who could throw the football the furthest. I got the ball and throws it to the other team and back and forth. So it was kind of a chaotic back and forth match of who could, kind of run the fastest. So, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. A lot of these teams that are more experienced are going to get further in this tournament. It really does just come down to repetition, going through these situations where, yeah, you might toss the ball down the field, but you know how to get it back, right? And it seemed like it just kind of got to the point where one team didn't know how to get the ball back, and it just kind of snowballed out of control. The Seraph got a bunch of kills in mid lane. Decker was across the map, and they just ran it all the way down.
Knowing what you have both just seen, what are your thoughts on both of these teams, 6th Sense and shoot, what is the other? I just lost my train of thought here. Shopkeepers potentially going up against you in the main event. Does it strike fear in your hearts, or maybe you guys aren't really worried?
I always look forward for more competition. I'm always excited to see new faces and see what they can pull out. Sometimes fresh blood can give a new perspective. So I'm just excited to see how much more competitive, how much more exciting these games get. So we'll see where things head.
Yeah, I'll take the other foot. I'm going to win it all anyway, so none of these other teams really matter. But we'll see if they can improve enough to give me a hard time.
Like, I'm gonna give you a chance. Do you have something to respond to Sai about that?
Hey, man, we'll see. I'm talking about new players, and he's trying out Robot Juan and all these other new players in the scene. So I think he has a soft heart for the new players as well. He just doesn't want to admit it.
All right. Well, we got one last game for you guys. Please don't go anywhere. The road to victory is not yet over. It's their last chance. This is the last game between Shopkeepers versus Space Cadets. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the PCC LCQ here at the desk. We just watched a featured match between Sixth Sense and Shopkeepers. Shopkeepers, wow, they're really showing that they are a force of nature from the previous game. And this is the last game of the day. And they're going to go against Space Cadets. Who will be the last teams to make it past the LCQ? Who gets to be a part of the Swiss Day 1 on January 11th? And who can we call a potential successor of the PCC crown? Reminder that you guys can watch the other game on twitch.tv/predpcc2, our B stream. But Lakeinator and Sai, how are you guys feeling? This is the last game. Do you guys have any predictions before we even head into this draft?
I'm feeling there's gonna be some spice here, knowing how, Shopkeepers play with Moo-Moos, knowing that they like to be a bit aggressive level 2. Maybe we'll see a level 1 fight. Moo-Moo likes to invade the red buff level 1, so I'm expecting to see some spiciness take place level 1 here.
Yeah, and I think after yesterday's stream, Space Cadets looks awesome. They played against some pretty tough competition, some of those teams that pull out some of these super early aggressive strats, and they were able to match it. I think this might be the PCC. We see them stepping up to the plate and really shooting beyond what everybody thought they could do.
Knowing what we know now as we head into this draft, what are you expecting to see for picks and bans?
I'm expecting maybe finally some target bans maybe towards Moo-Moos. He's gonna play, I believe, Chimera or Countess. Those are his most comfortable picks. He loves early aggression. You give him those early picks, he will try to make plays on the map. So I'm assuming maybe some targets, but I'm not too sure.
Yeah, I would look to ban out the Countess, and then on the opposite side for Space Cadets, AGT2 played 2 different roles yesterday, but one of his best games on the day was Argus. It might be worth just taking that away. He was finding consistent stuns from angles that are extremely hard to hit. He was rounding the map and constantly having pressure in the mid lane. They controlled the objectives in that game. It might be worth just trying to get that out and forcing him off to the off lane if that's where they put him.
I'm gonna put you guys on the spot here a little bit since we're still waiting on this draft to be ready, but who are you favoring? Which team do you want to come out and be a part of the Swiss on January 11th? Is it going to be the Shopkeepers, or do you want Space Cadets to come through?
I'm going to root for the Space Cadets. I think they have what it takes. You see a lot of these players kind of in the rank scene. All of them are coming back from some breaks. And honestly, I might be a little take on this, but I don't like the Moo-Moo's level 2 cheese chaoticness that he adds to the game, because it just makes the game a bit chaotic to start off. So I'm not a big fan of that. So
yeah, and I would actually go the opposite end because I love the chaos. I thrive in the chaos. And I know these other teams in PCC really do struggle into it. And I think that it's a good way to allow these teams to adapt as they come into the finals against us.
Yeah, and I know that's what Sai's team loves. When you've seen the doctors and the chefs and now the primals, like that's one of their strategies up their sleeve. But let's head into this draft, Lake and Sai. This is between 6 Sense and Shopkeepers. Shopkeepers over on the left side. You kind of talked about maybe banning out the Chimera, maybe targeting AG2 on Space Cadets. Any other heroes come to your mind that should be a top pick or ban?
You have the standard. You have like Seraph and Zarus. You have those like standard heroes that are really strong in the meta that they want to take away. But sometimes sometimes comfort picks trump the really strong heroes because they just perform really well on those heroes. So, and as you see, they go with the Zarus pick. It's just a comfort band. The character is just inherently strong with the cage, especially if you don't position well. You can get punished really hard.
Yeah, they could also look to force out ban the Decker. Both of these teams seem to kind of fall back to it, but if one team like Space Cadets here would have a secondary option, maybe flexing back towards that Muriel, adding in that Seraph, I feel like these could be super strong picks. I kind of hounded on it last draft that we were in, where like that Muriel and that Grim kind of run over lobbies. They're super strong paired together, and you're picking the next two. Banning out that Countess is super smart. You might see Shopkeepers pick up some early aggression. I'm looking for something like a Kai because you really want to get Moo-Moo's on one of his secure standard picks that he can look to do that early aggression on. I'm interested to see what they pick up.
Yeah, we'll see, because we still don't have the first picks coming out from both sides, but really targeting Mumus because he has been a menace to society with his Countess, just creating chaos, which is what Lakeinator talked about earlier and what we've seen on broadcast. But Shopkeepers picking up the Decker here, a very staple pick, and we know players like Toasty also enjoy the Decker because she does so well offensively and defensively as a hero. But here are the next picks from Space Cadets, the Sereth and the Drongo.
Yeah, the Sereth is always just inherently a strong pick. I think honestly why they prior the Decker a lot on the Shopkeepers is that Decker is one of those supports that can roam and put a lot of pressure on the map in the early game, and once again continue to that chaos, create this massive mess that, you know, maybe Mumus can find an opportunity to jump into.
Yeah, and then we see the Bellica picked up, which brings a ton of teamfight stability as well as with that Kwang. If you hit a Decker stun into a Kwang tether, into a Bellica knockup, if it's that Sereth is dead. But then we do see the Drongo picked up paired with the Sereth, which I think is super smart. It's one of those ADC counter picks where you just throw the silence field at your feet, and then the Sereth can auto you, but beyond that, she's not really doing much. She doesn't have the escapability. So again, you could set up for that CC to follow through. Very interesting to see the Gideon picked up as well. Super good matchup into the Bellico, which we know is going mid because the Decker pickup already happened. You have a lot of early pressure and aggression that you can put out. You obviously lose that level 1 with the R&B cooldown coming out of the Bellico, but beyond that, you do pressure out the lane.
One of the things is that Gideon is also a very mobile player, but Space Cadets coming out with that Revenant ban, they're just really narrowing the potential ADC hero pool from the Shopkeepers. And actually something that I do like from the Shopkeepers so far is it's kind of similar to what they used in the game against Sixth Sense. They have the Bellica yet again, they got the Decker yet again, but this time around they're picking up the Kwang to pair with all the CC that they already have. They're taking away that Zinx though. Haven't seen a lot of Zinx actually.
Yeah, Zinx is actually a really strong support right now, just being able to revive and, you know, get that heal off, that stun, the AoE stun. There's a lot of things Zinx does that can really mess up a team fight. I'm really curious with the Revenant ban because it really, I think Seraph plays really well into the Revenant, but maybe they're too worried about how Revenant has Decker and Bellica as backline peel, so it'd be hard to get to the Revenant. So they maybe are like, oh, let's just take away the Revenant, makes the game a bit easier for us. And then they take, you know what, we're gonna take Mumu's Khmer and see what he responds with. Maybe the Mumu goes with the Kwang jungle, but it's, you know, they're really targeting Mumu, so it's really dicey right now. We'll see what they can pull out.
And we see that Kalari pick up, which is something I was going to try to harp on before they got these picks out. It's one of his staple picks. It's one of those picks that he can be anywhere all the time. We also see the TB picked up. It's a little bit weaker than it's been recently, but still has a great lane presence, great lane clear, and pairing with that Decker as well, you're going to constantly have that push prio, depending on what support they pick up, because they don't really have a lot of options. You know, Lake kind of talked about that Zinx a little bit. One of Zinx might not see a lot of game time, but against a team like Shopkeepers and the comp that they're pulling out, that bouncing stun would have gotten a ton of value. You see the Muriel picked up, so they're still getting that nice pairing with Heavy Dive with Sereth Muriel or Kai Muriel. But again, it's gonna come down to this early game. It's gonna come down to if Mumus can cause this chaos that Lake was talking about and kind of put Space Cadets on the back foot, or Space Cadets can match that aggression. They got that Chimera, they got the Muriel. Super excited to see how this one plays out.
And on top of that, they also have a Sereth. Oh my gosh, I don't even know which comp I'm favoring right now. But if I had to, or if you guys had to choose, which comp are you favoring and why? Is it the Shopkeepers or is it the Space Cadets?
I'm going to go with the Space Cadets. I'm personally a big fan of TB. I'm trying to see how Twin Blast can play into this comp. He's really, you know, doesn't do much damage. He kind of plays from the range, kind of more of a caster rather than an auto attacker. And there's not much damage he can do while Sereth is running around him. Kai's jumping on him. They have Muriel ult, so I'm trying to really see how TB fits in this comp.
So while I agree that TB doesn't really fit in the comp, I do think that Shopkeepers comp, the core 4, is going to cause a lot of damage, so I'm going to go with them. I think generally, if you look for your Decker engage, and then you have that follow-up CC, and Kalari gets to play from a side engage, you should be able to rip this team apart. It's just about getting that early game Kai aggression, and then getting through that mid game Sereth Muriel. combo. Outside of that, I think if they can drag these games out like we've seen them be able to do, both of these teams will take this game to 50 minutes. I think that Shopkeepers can pull this one out.
This has been an absolute marathon for a lot of these players, fighting tooth and nail to really tip the scales in their favor and just simply get through this LCQ. Like I said earlier, the road to victory is not yet over. You're almost through LCQ, but the question stands and remains, the questions I should say, who gets to advance, who gets to move on, and is it going to be the astronauts or the businessmen? Chat, it's time to place your bets. One last time today. Falcon and TJ DJ, show us the game one more time.
Thank you so much, R-Dog. One more time, one more game. Me and Falcon had the pleasure of opening day one of the Last Chance qualifiers here yesterday. Only fitting that we are going to be the ones who end it as well. Falcon, I mean, we've also been watching these two teams. I mean, Space Cadets we saw throughout yesterday, and now Shopkeepers getting their time in the spotlight as well. It seems almost fated that they would meet here in the last game. One team advancing, one team eliminated. It's cruel, man, but wow, what a game we have on our hands.
Yeah, all or nothing. It is going to be down to those minute plays, and I mean, I'm very interested to see what team comes up here. Especially I mean, they were in that first game, TJ, that we watched, which feels, at least to me, like an age ago. We've had so many games since, we've had so much good gameplay since, and we've had some not so good gameplay since, but hopefully that is going to be the former in this game. We can see that everyone has gone for the standard composition. Nothing too crazy on this. We haven't got like a Chimera solo, so pretty standard compositions. And going back to what the desk is saying, I definitely prefer Shopkeepers draft on this. I do think the Twin Blast is a bit weird in the compositions, but my concern is, especially that's where is their lockdown?
It's going to have to rely purely on just that jump in, I think, from B Craze. Essentially what we have been seeing from him, he kind of, was instrumental in a lot of their games on that Chimera, simply just holding down the W, finding a lot of value with the Cull ultimate as well, and with the rest of the team following in. But yeah, when you just look at the Shopkeepers team, Falcon, like just locked down in absolute spades, and just allowing his TB to kind of free cash, especially when you've got the likes of a Decker and the likes of a Bellica that can set up for you. You can hide behind the Quang. But saying that, it's going to have to be a big game from Mumuse on that Kalari to kind of get that Shopkeepers draft to that point.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, already in the game we casted earlier, TJ, we saw how much strength a Kalari can have with Mr. Guru dominating the map on it. So Mumuse definitely might be able to do the same. And, I mean, I'm not going to say this is a curse or a blessing or anything, but you've had 3 Kalari games, TJ, this weekend on broadcast. I've casted all 3.
Hey, it was just meant to happen, right? I bring out the technical issues, you bring out the Kalaris, tomato, tomato, I guess. But that's just the way it is. But what we also get as well is good quality games. At least mini waves are crashed, no shenanigans, some wards are being placed down into Space Cadets jungle here. Mumuse, though, taking the first bit of the camp here, but he's going to be spotted on B Crace's ward as well, so might have only been able to take one. Mumu's got to be careful. Will at least be able to use that invisibility, get away. Probably only took one of those jungle minions, but only just a little bit of a paper cut there.
Yeah, started blue camp, went immediately towards the enemy's jungle. B Craze is going to repeat it, but I mean, he should know that the blue buff is down. He saw Kalari with it, and he knows it definitely isn't his own because he has a ward on it. Instead, goes straight to the 4 camp. It's going to take the more valuable camp out of it because it gives more experience, more gold. But again, I don't think it's the best invade. He's only going to get really 1 camp, maybe 2 if he wants to go for the invade. It's going to be able to reset towards his own blue side because Mumuse did go back towards his own jungle. So overall, it will be an advantage for the side of Space Cadets' jungler. But again, it's not going to be really that impacted on the lanes.
No, just he's in a good position here to impact that solo side, but AGT already forcing Pavey underneath that tier 1 tower, so probably not going to risk that very early dive for now. Mumu's just going to secure that, he's got to clear the river, secure that first river buff as well for his mid lane, and now moving towards that left-hand side duo lane, OC and Pacifist. Probably going to send something out here. They're still playing quite far back, respecting the Kalari on a game where it is all or nothing. Can't afford to find yourself being caught out when there's an invisible Kalari around.
Yeah, what's interesting to me is B-Craze actually went back to his red side. He's gone for that full clear, wants to make sure those minions are respawning, which does leave his blue side jungle in a bit of a tricky situation. But because of how well PCCX's Blades are doing, saying that, though, that's just going to be a first blood straight away.
Whoa.
Mr. Fastest does dies from Moomoo's lurking around, usually invisible to get around to the gold side. I don't think that PCCX were aware that Moomoo's was still lurking, and that's just a first blood picked up.
First blood going the way of Shopkeepers, and it is Moomoo's on that Kalari. Getting a bit creative with the terrain scaling on that left-hand side. Already starting to become a bit of a difference maker. Hopefully your team on Dusk wants to keep that one going as well. And also, yeah, you're absolutely right. Pacifist role swapping over to the support with OC now taking the AD role. Just gets absolutely blown up there. So I don't think we need to worry about lack of early game damage for the side of Shopkeepers.
No, that was definitely not the concern for them. They have a lot of base damage in this kit. Decker does pretty decent damage for support in that early game as well. Might have gone for that magical tome as well, just for a bit more damage. Moomoo's is back in Stewart lane.
He's going to move, getting containment fence on towards two members as well. Moomoo's doesn't have much in the way of mana. He's just got some daggers and try and find the hit. OC looking for the killing blow. Not going to find it. Moomoo's with the fancy footwork, but can't get away from B-Craze and Pacifist as the Space Cadet jungler makes their appearance on the left-hand side. 1-for-1. ADC for jungle. Space Cadets on the board.
Yes, but Shopkeepers still probably gain the advantage. It does look like the B-Craze was looking towards the Fang 2 for a second, but is going to avert from that. But the problem is, I mean, that's the second gank on Dura lane. This Dura side is already a level down. This is going to be Pacifist falling down. Hasn't got the blink. His person's back here.
B-Craze jumping forward on towards Bad Yoshi, starting to hit the unleash, and there is the blink away from Bad Yoshi. B-Craze having to drop down, takes so much damage from this Twin Blast, piloted by Mr. Cursor. OC back from base, though. Wanna gets the kill on towards the support, but he needs to find his way through a very difficult situation. But here come the reinforcements. Look to the light on the 5th day, and you will find me there. Moomoo's and his mid laner as well. Collapse onto OC. Deathmark takes down the dual lane. Beautiful rotation coming out from the Shopkeepers.
What is going on? Moose has been in dual lane more than he's been in his own jungle in this first 6 minutes. And I mean, they're 0 and 4 in this dual side. They got no experience. They barely got any farm. It is such a disastrous start for the side of Space Cadets. AGT has been able to do at least a decent amount in this solo side. But I mean, I don't know how many kills went over to Cursor. And Twin Blast normally, in a normal game, which is definitely not this anymore, it takes a while to scale up. But if he gets accelerated to this level, then I don't mind that Twin Blast anymore.
Now that Twin Blast's going to prove its value, and just with the burst damage there, that vaporize, the piercing shot plus the grenades doing so much work. You see Miss Cursor though only 1-0-3. Soul Child's picked, so going to start going into the components items as well. So not quite 4-0 at this point, but still a little bit accelerated. Something for Space Cadets to keep an eye on though, as Shopkeepers definitely looking the more lively, and it is that man in the jungle, Moomoo's, the one making the plays.
Yeah, Moomoo's has got 2 of those kills, is very strong on Kalari. And, I mean, Kalari, this tournament so far seems to be pretty good. Already got the Malady at 7 minutes in. Nearly gets the proc onto Seeknix, but is able to turn his face away in time. AGT is also lurking around in the fog. I'm not sure the Shopkeepers know they're here.
Oh, he's going to use that Ascend, going to crash down. It's a little bit of damage on towards Moomoo's, just trying to slow down his jungle, going to force the blink away. AGT not going to follow underneath that tier 1 tower to maybe force Moomoo's back. B-Craze also rotated in as well. It looks like the damage has been done. Just trying to slow down that Kalari. B-Craze waiting in the wings. If Plato drops down in towards the river, because now here comes Patey on that Fang as well. HC up into the air. Sequence also rotating. 2 versus 3 brewing over on that right hand side. HC taking some damage. It's going to be a blink away from Patey on that Quang as well. Bit of a follow through from B-Craze and also AGT, and they're going to take down the Quang outside of the pit, and everyone takes the Uber and out to safety as well. Space Cadets 1 in a second.
Yeah, I think Pivy was just out of position there. the rest of the shopkeepers weren't really able to help them. But look at Mumus again. Once again invaded, but that is so much damage onto Kalari. You are... But that's a shutdown for Seeknix. I think Space Cadets will definitely take that. Outside of the dual lane, their rest of the map is looking pretty good.
Well, you wanted some lockdown from this Space Cadet side, and there it was. B-Craze just point-blank pressed the ultimate, hit the call, hit the stun, and then Seeknix was there to pile on the damage. Mumus gets a little bit burned from that invade, and also, as you highlighted, the shutdown going on towards Seeknix. Space Cadets finding a bit of an answer back as we're approaching that 10-minute mark. First Fangtooth is on the table, so is the first mini prime as well. Something for both these junglers to think about.
I think the junglers are only thinking about kills at the moment, TJ.
True.
It does seem to be a case that ganking is the main objective, and once again, with ganking, Seeknix has got the black hole, has got the blink, might be able to look for it. It's a bit too far out though. Torn space, just a bit of poke damage. And look where Mumus is. Once again, by this duo side, has no ult, has no blink though. So if he wants to go in, it is rather dangerous. And Space Cadets, they started this Fangtooth. This is rather scary.
Oh, at the moment, Mumus is the only one here. Is that Fangtooth going to drop down? Laner rotating in. So it's here, Fangtooth going to drop down. The Shopkeepers go in. Mumus gets the steal! And he gets away as well with the black hole. Space Cadets are angry. They don't want this to be given away for free. Mumus will be hunted down, but he does not care. That is a hashtag worth. Mumus steals the first Fangtooth.
That's 100% worth. Getting the steal just means that Space Cadets can't build up momentum on Fangtooths, can't go for that third Fangtooth buff. And, I mean, if you die for it, you die for it. You've already lost your shutdown. It doesn't really matter. You're just going to lose a bit of time farm and a bit of experience. He's level 5 on the scoreboard. I don't think that is correct. I believe he was level 6 on the actual game. And, I mean, that was right with Space Cadets. Like, they have no real shutdown. They have no real way to stop the Clive from just walking into that area, especially if he's invisible. And, I mean, they just get punished for it.
It's a bit of a lack of CC as well. There wasn't really any zoning that they could do, as you said, Falcon. I think highlighting a bit of a weakness there for Space Cadets that they will need to correct as we go into the later stages of this game. Shopkeepers only the minutest of lead on the neutral objectives, and also might start to take the first turret down as well. That tier 1 tower in the duo lane looks like it's not going to survive for much longer. Mid lane, solo lane looking pretty healthy, all things considered for the Space Cadet team as well. However, once again, both junglers in the mid lane. AGT rotates from solo, getting this Seraph involved as early on as possible as a tier 1 tower is going to fall in isolation. OC gets some damage down on towards Mr. Cursor and Bad Yoshi, but not enough to protect that structure. Back over to the right hand side, B-Craze in the river, Mumus and also Pavey hunting him down in the river, but he is going to get away. Keeps his life for now. Structure for number 1 is going to fall for Shopkeepers.
Yeah, Seeknix still in mid lane, trying to push out the wave, but he needs to be careful that Mumus doesn't turn on him, which he looks like he's going to do. Has got the torn space available, but just lurking in the rings is going to eventually jump on top of him, gets the death mark online, but not enough damage to really go for the burst. But what is enough damage is Mr. Cursor taking down OC, and I believe that that Pacifist is going to be able to get out. Has 4 HP, I'm not entirely sure what happened in the duo side. Mumus now rotated over to this duo side. No tower for them to take, but can take this pressure to go for the invade. B-Craze nearby as well, so they might try and collapse on this. Yet the fact that the dual lane of Shopkeepers is still this far ahead is a very good sign for them. Also, I was wondering, OC was around that mini fine for a good 30 seconds or so before he reset. That is why the tower was able to fall down. I don't know entirely what the plan was with that, and it's just meant that he's now even for about 2 levels down compared to Cursor.
I will not be long.
Definitely a sizable advantage over on that dual lane with the structure gold XP as well. We'll just get a little look at the items. First items being picked up as well. You can see though, Mr. Cursor 106 CS to 60 at left hand side. That is quite a gulf in between these two ADCs.
Yeah, that's the first thing that's popped out on that scoreboard to me. That is just... I mean, it's not even the kills at that point, it's just the farm. And I mean, Cursor, he got the Soul Chalice already built into the spec, so go for that on hit in this game. So it's not that tanky. You don't really need the Infernum Pen because you're going to be doing basically 2 damage anyway with just a Demolisher or the like. So instead just one stack sustain the damage, so you got a bunch of burst on the rest of your comp, and I do prefer that. I do think the on-hit is pretty good at this stage of the game, and now we got multiple members of Shopkeepers around the mini prime. Pacifist taking a lot of damage from the, like, I think that was just from a void bomb. There's 5 members around. It might be a 4v5 from Space Cadets. OC still on the other side of the map.
So, and the arc shots are in play here, but going to need a bit of a quicker journey in order to impact this one. And Mini Prime secured, and goes over to Moomoo's as well, unable to donate it to any of his other members here. On the hunt around, making sure there's going to be no one trying to lazy bag. AGT's going to bump into him. Level lead, actually, for the solo laner over this jungle, but Moomoo's with that purple sheen on her armor, definitely going to be winning that one out, as everyone looks to redraw these battle lines. Fangtooth number 2 spawning in a matter of moments here. Might be the next battlefield here.
It most likely will. I do think that's Space Cadets. And the problem is, because they lost that first Fangtooth, they don't really want to give up the second, because that gives a lot of pressure for Shopkeepers. But again, they can't really fight it. Moomoo's has that mini 5. OC is just teleported to the other side of the map, straight into the Krang.
The waiting arms of Pavey here, but OC starting to hold his ground, and AGT making the move over through the heavens, gets some damage down, but AGT jumps on towards this Quang. Moomoo's is over here as well, trying to answer back, get a kill on towards OC, but a reversal fortune comes out, lives up to stay in the shields, keeping OC alive. It does a lot, but not enough. Moomoo's will drop, so does OC, but it's a 2-for-1, and now a fight on the left-hand side. B-Craze jumping forward with Seeknix, and are able to take down Bad Yoshi as well, as basically let's pull ahead in kills for the first time this game.
Yeah, and that's going to be the Fangtooth for them as well. We've got AGT versus Mr. Cursor. There's going to be a 1 level difference for the Seraph, but the HP bar is so low. Already used the Heaven's Fury, no Heresy available either. It's going to be able to use the walls to dodge most of the abilities. Walking back into lane, he should be pretty safe here, but again, he's going to have to be so careful. Meanwhile, the Fangtooth is going to be continued with Seeknix and B-Craze. Moomoo's has only just respawned. It is going to be a nice secure for them, and that is the main benefit from that fight. I think that if Shopkeepers just let the Pybee die on the Krang, they would have had the numbers advantage on the other side of the map. They could have just gone for this Fangtooth, set themselves up for that third Fangtooth play, which would have got them so far into the lead. But now, basically, they're up in kills, they're up even in the Fangtooths, and outside of the farm, which is still a big issue, especially for OC, they're doing pretty well.
Just have to remember that Pacifist, with that reversal of fortune, essentially has had an arc shot the entire time since Muriel's release. It's a massive turning point over on that right-hand side. Still 16 minutes on the clock. Game still not broken, completely open for either team here. We have another mini prime spawning in a matter of moments. Gotta wait a little bit longer for that third Fangtooth there. Both teams gonna have 1 apiece, so no free Fangtooth Monty available. Now it's up for a member to just get caught out, because that just the entire passive Space Cadets got back into this game, arguably. Didn't really came out of anything. It was just an overchase onto OC and a great punish.
Yeah, just mistakes from the Shopkeeper. B-Craze now walking over to Pybee. AGT already gone so low. Has got the Heresy, has got the Heaven's Fury. The Unleash is not going to be enough. Gets the kill. Bad Yoshi is going to secure it. The Blink followed through from B-Craze is going to be able to get the kill on B-Crazy. Bad Yoshi still in big danger, but has got enough HP. The rest of Shopkeepers are coming in.
Mr. Cursor on the way. So is Plato as well on that Lieutenant Bellica. B-Craze, the Chimera is so good at going in. Only has to fight himself out. He will be picked off there on the right-hand side. It is a 2-for-2 in... it's a 2-for-1 in favor of the Shopkeepers. Evening up the kill feed. 8-8 there. And once again, that was just a collapse. Not really fighting over anything in particular, but resulting in a bit of bloodshed.
Seeknix in big danger. Musa's managed to get behind him. Has been spotted using the tall space to get away. Should be out of range. The Blink follow through from Plato. Sorry, it's going to miss the seismic assault. Not going to be able to have anything followed. I don't know why you blink there as Plato. You needed to use that defensively, especially with mini primes and Fangtooths coming up, but instead it's going to waste it there. Does miss the ability. And something I want to point out, TJ, Mr. Cursor's built armor and a health pendant. I'm not 100% sure what he is building there, but apparently Bruiser TV is going to be a thing this game. He's cooking. He's cooking.
He's cooking. I mean, Lance behind the scenes was talking to me about the Shopkeepers team, and they have spent a lot of time looking at builds, and some of these item picks going to be definitely a choice coming out of left field there. Copy that at your own will in your ranked games. Maybe we should have a disclaimer in the bottom right-hand corner when we're watching the Shopkeepers here. It's entertaining, and this TB is doing pretty well so far.
Yeah, I mean, he's been massively ahead most of the game, had a great CS lead, had a lot of, maybe not kills, but it was part of a lot of kills and fights in this early game. Got that Infernum, got that Spectre, has already probably maxed out these Soul Challenge. So I am trying to work out what he is building, which I have done unsuccessfully so far, so I am very interested to see what happens with that. But I still think Muumuus is the big playmaker on this competition. Has died 4 times, but 3 kills on his thing, on his belt, has got that Melody, has got the Nightfall, has got that Sustain into the Infernum, but B-Craze is as the same level, has got that Invigorate, has got that Coal.
They get some damage down, AGT. Leaping forward and able to regroup here. Shopkeepers rushing in as well. This gives the opportunity for SpaceX to turn on the pressure. The black hole and AGT is enough. Muumuus is down. Here comes a reversal looking for a knock-up. Not gonna need it though, as B-Craze and AGT just simply walk through Mr. Cursor. Now gotta deal with Pavey. Hits the Tether. Fury to Heavens as well, getting some damage down. Gotta choose their moment. Their health bar starting to drop low. B-Craze is stuck inside a containment defense. Plato is here, and that Seismic Assault not gonna miss this time. Good response from Shopkeepers, evening things up 2 for 2 on the right hand side.
2 for 2, but not able to go for that mini prime. OC meanwhile has been just continuing the farm on this dual side. Is going to be able to secure the tower for himself. So although the fight was even, the fact that Space Cadets didn't need every single member was able to get OC back into the game. He's still 50 farm down. It's not like he is doing the same level as Mr. Curse's now built Stonewall. I'll go on to that later, but at least this Drongo is going to be useful. The All Prime though has just been started.
I mean, Shopkeepers just going to go for it here. Massive tempo advantage.
I don't know
and
if
look at
Space
that
Cadets
map. B-Craze has actually reset. They have no idea this is being taken. So this will be a free All Prime secure for the side of Shopkeepers. It looks like Space Cadets are on that left-hand side. They have eyes on the third Fangtooth of the game.
Not starting bang either.
Can argue that All Prime is a much more worthy target here. And that Fangtooth hasn't even dropped yet. Shopkeepers pull ahead with a massive tempo advantage, and Space Cadets, they might be forced to respond.
They were looking for where Shopkeepers were. They thought they were going to go for the pick. They do get the Fangtooth, but it's only second Fangtooth. This is not even their third. So Shopkeepers are laughing right now. They have a few minutes of this All Prime. They can take down most likely 1 or 2 towers. That mid tier 1 tower is definitely going to fall. Cursor trying to take down the tier 2 in the side is on his own. You have got the likes of, my apologies, Bad Juicy nearby, so he should be okay. Seeknix might be in a bit of danger here.
And Seeknix is having a bit of difficulty clearing away the Orb Enhanced waves from that Orb Prime take. Such a good pickup as well from the Shopkeepers, so free as it turns up. Definitely going to turn a few heads when you're looking towards January 11th. That day 1 Swiss, which both of these teams had their eyes on. Remember, winner advances. Loser is eliminated here. No final chances in the lower bracket. Round 5. Tier 1 tower mid finally broken open as the Shopkeepers able to take 2. That's free hit with a Seismic Assault. But unfortunately, the Shopkeepers cannot capitalize on it just yet. But they're still keeping up the siege. B-Craze walking forward, seeing for an opportunity. Containment defense comes down, lives up to the name as B-Craze is stuck around the occasion. But he's going to go in with AGT, looking for the call as well. Trying to get the All Prime buff off of these members. And they have a weakness. Mr. Cursor picked off a blink out from Bad Yoshi. AGT Heaven's Fury on top of the decker takes down the Shopkeepers dual lane, losing 2 of their All Prime buffs. Muumuus causing problems in between the 2 towers, has taken down the Pacifist on that Muriel, and even channeling the recall in the base. The enhanced recall gets Muumuus to safety and keeps this siege going.
They lost 2 members, but they managed to get at least 1 in return. They got that tier 2 tower in the solo side as well, so it's still a effective All Prime, and they still have it for a few moments on 3 of those members. Muumuus only really surviving because of that enhanced recall, because his invisibility was about to fall out. Okay, TJ, I can't ignore it anymore.
Cursor has something on your mind, Falcon? Want to get it off your chest?
It is, yes. Cursor was built Stonewall. That I can kind of see. You're going to get dove a lot by the Seraph and the Chimera. I think Draconin would have been better as a thing, but I can see why you would build it. Not third. He's now building into another armor item. Again, I'm not entirely sure what it is, but the fact that he's doing this, I am very concerned that he's not going to have enough penetration to actually do any damage in this game. He's really only built 2 damage items on this Trim Blast, and I just don't see why he's doing this when he just needs to be that backline. He's really that consistent damage that shopkeepers are going to be using in these team fights, and if he doesn't have that, if the burst doesn't work anymore, then they're not going to be able to team fight.
Maybe just banking on Moo-Mews if you're wondering where the damage is coming from. Still on that Kalari, seeing taken about half of the HP of Pacifist on that Muriel. Be crazy. Seeknix moving forward. Void Breach Call immediately coming down. There's a combination. Seeknix torn space. Black Hole gonna force Blinks out from the side of the Shopkeepers to get away from the combination. Plato is going to fall though to Be Crazed as they are on a warpath. The slows on slows, keeping them in their sights on their crosshairs. Bad Yoshi is going to drop as well. Space Cadets able to find 2 more picks at Mr. Cursor and take a tower for trade.
Again, I don't think... I mean, Citizens are probably happy that they got 2 kills. They managed to stop Cursor's attack. It's going to be a 1v1. You've got Pacifist nearby with Reversal forcing the Blink, followed through from Cursor. But you're running into 2 more members of Space Cadets. That is going to be a Trim Blast. You may have 2 defensive items, but that's not going to stop 4 members killing you. Moo-Moos on this side is going to continue split push and Shopkeepers. They're just trying to play them out as much as they can, but there will be eventually a point where these kills are going to bite them.
Oh man, I mean, I knew Mr. Cursor was cooking up something, but he maybe forgot to add an ingredient, runs back into the kitchen, trips up, and, well, gets kind of cleaned up by the side of the Space Cadets here. Falcon, yeah, I mean, that's a Citadel pickup as well. Well, Falcon, I'll just leave this to you, right?
He's building a 3rd armor item, Teach. I can't do this anymore. I'm trying to understand. I'm trying to think maybe he just wants to keep surviving. If he's surviving, he does more DPS, right? But
Falcon.
Okay.
Falcon.
Yes.
Buddy.
Yes.
Breathe. It's fine. We're gonna go with the flow. This TB's building 3 armor items. Okay. Yes, he is right now. But this game's not over. Both cores are still standing. Stevie is still in the game, 25 minutes in, 15 kills to 11, 2 Fang Tubes to 1. The 3rd, it's going to be the 4th. Sorry, Fang Tube's going to spawn. This one is a Primal or Prime. Not on the table just yet here, so most likely going to be the next clash between these 2 teams. I feel like just bringing up this scoreboard is more just to traumatize Falcon than anything here.
It's doing quite well. What I do also see, which is quite interesting, is that we have got the entropy on Plato on that Bellica trying to just go for that full burst combo. So again, I think this is where Shopkeepers are trying to rely. They're relying on Moo-Moos, relying on Plato to just burst someone out. But Muriel does pretty well into that, just has those extra shields. Reversal Fortune is going to be very effective. And here comes the Seraph.
GT goes in. You'll look for the engage, diving in. Almost the Shopkeeper's going to back out there. The seismic assault comes through. SpaceX trying to re-engage, but Seeknix, that black hole is absolutely massive from the Space Cadets mid laner. Takes so much damage out of Shopkeepers, and now it's up to the Space Cadets to hold the W key and run them down, run them out of their red side jungle. They only get Mr. Cursor. Be Crazed wants even more, but there's what Seeknix is for. It takes down Pybe with the range. Plato able to respond with some damage. Gonna force back Space Cadets there, but once again, it's a collapse. AGT goes in, and the rest of the team are on the same page.
Shopkeepers are still looking though. There's a lot of low HP bars on Space Cadets. Can't start the Primal Fang Tooth because of that. Moo-Moos is still alive. Hasn't got ultimate though, so it isn't going to go for that full assassination. Seeknix might not be able to reset in time, but multiple members of Space Cadets are still here.
Has got to be careful. Seeing opportunity. AGT hit by a seismic assault. The Heaven's Fury comes out trying to box out against Moo-Moos, but he is the one who jumps up. AGT is down, and Moo-Moos is going to run away, secure the river buff for himself. That's a big pick. Seraph is down for 43 seconds, and Primal's still on the table.
Yeah, Shopkeepers, they knew that Space Cadets could not go over. They needed to reset. They managed to stop the backs, got at least one pick, so that is going to delay the side of Space Keepers for as long as they can. Just have a look at the scoreboard. We can see that, again, Shopkeepers, they have got the farm advantage, but Space Cadets, they now have a large amount of kills. I'm not entirely sure that the Seeknix still on... hasn't died this game yet, so has got a decent bounty on his head. If Shopkeepers can go for it, Moomers, that's really his main target. If he can get on this Gideon, OC is still not particularly fed in this game. Once he gets out of Molotov, it's going to be a different story though.
Takes a bit of damage from the death mark, but that's what pacifist shields are for. Able to mitigate some of that poke coming from the Kalari daggers. Feel less dangerous, but Moomy's that guillotine just did so much. Able to double jump away, and OC, the rad rounds, the wasteland, the passive, and Moomy's is locked out. Seeknix engages Torn Space, Black Hole, B-Craze happy to oblige. And now AGT and B-Craze, the dynamic duo, holding down W, because W stands for a win right now, and that's what they want. Taking down one, taking down two. Bad Yoshi is gonna fall. Playbe, the only one left. 5 members drop. It's a clean ace for the Space Cadets, so they go straight over towards that left-hand side.
You don't have to care about low HP passes. Everyone on the other side is there. This would be the final Fang 2. Seeknix going to secure that in a tower as well. They might be able to get the Orb Pride depending on how fast they kill this final Fang Tooth as well. And I mean, Moomers, they went for the assassination, nearly got it onto the pacifist, but OC with those round rounds, with the burst from the shrapnel cannon, was able to get that delayed kill, and then just a W key, ATT2 B-Craze, having that enhanced speed as well from degrees, meant that they could run down everyone on Shopkeepers. That is going to be not only the Pyro Fang Tooth, it's going to be the third Fang Tooth for them as well, the 8% damage and the defense, as Mumu goes for guillotine, trying to find something, but the torn space is just going to be easily enough to get away.
Just repeating the problems from the early game of trying to lock down a Gideon as well. Seeknix, though, have quite the shutdown available to him. I think Seeknix is actually deathless this game. I'm just trying to wrap my brains to see if the Gideon has fallen, but there have been some massive ultimates coming out from the mid laner, and honestly, the Space Cadets team, the way that they're playing right now, definitely reaping the rewards of this game. Shopkeepers still have their core. They're still in this game. They're still in this tournament right now. They have to pull off something big to try and stop Space Cadets' warpath.
Yeah, just really hard to fight into now with this Pyro Fountain. We can see that Pacifist is split person on the side. Versatile Fortune, not just up yet, but probably not too far off. And if they want to start this Orb Prime, they can. Quite a lot of wards around for Shopkeepers, so they are going to be aware if this is starting. But AGT, he's just diving onto multiple members. Cursor is tanky, though.
As AGT is going to go forward, looking for the pick on towards Mr. Cursor. There's a Seismic Assault appeal coming out from Plato as Mr. Cursor actually able to survive so long. Guess the armor does amount for something here. Pumping out the damage. AGT still dealing damage. Mumi's guillotine though. B-Craze jumps forward. Colts looking for the stun. AGT is down. It's only B-Craze, and the rest of the Shopkeepers look to close up shop on this jungler. He jumps up once again. Seeknix, the black hole, finding the value. Mumi's health is shredded as a shrapnel cannon will do the job, and members dropping for both teams. It's 3 for 2 in favor of the Space Cadets. They got the minion wave. They're going to push on towards the base. Plato, Bad Yoshi are the ones to try and defend as OC, Seeknix, and the Pacifists get some damage onto the core, but they might not be able to end the game just yet.
They might be able to. They really need to kill Plato because these minions aren't that tanky. They should be able to die just from the Void Bomb. But if there's enough damage from OC, it should be enough. Seeknix trying to get any sort of damage. No Black Hole available. It takes down Plato to the half, but they need to go for that full kill. Otherwise, they're not going to be able to. We've got 20 seconds on the rest of Shopkeepers. It's going to be really this wave, and that is it. Plato, decent amount of damage. Got decent wave clear. Weird Bad Yoshi. I don't think that Space Cadets can go for this.
They gotta wait for another minion wave. 10 seconds before Moomuse is back up, and that core is at 25%. If they get to the core, they take damage. Seeknix, so much damage with the meteors as the minion wave's gonna go in. They're gonna look towards the core. They're gonna look to end this game right here, right now. Space Cadets, we'll see you, my friends, on January 11th. Shopkeepers are eliminated from the last chance qualifier.
I mean, Seeknix, what a player. every single black hole he did this game was near perfection. Deathless against a Kalari as well, of all things that went ahead. It was so good in this game.
Such a good performance. So I'm having some technical difficulties.
You good?
Yo, we all good?
Not having some issues with TT. Yeah, we're all good. You good?
I think we
Okay,
are. I guess we're going to carry on talking.
Technical difficulties as always with TJ, but going back to the Space Cadets, they managed to weather that early game storm as well. And I mean, Mumu's was doing his signature chaos on the map, was able to basically destroy that dual lane. OC and Tussis, they weren't really here for the first 20 minutes, but just the rest of the map was able to recoup the losses. B-Craze was able to do as much as he could on that Chimera. We can't really look away from that. AGT2 was able to link up, get those dives through, and I don't like bringing this up again, TJ, but Shopkeepers might have lost a bit to the shop.
Slightly ironic, I guess, considering their name, but man, they went for it. It was a close game, back and forward as well. But as soon as Space Cadets seemed to get online, as soon as they were able to find that damage, it felt that the Shopkeepers, there wasn't much they could do to stop B-Craze, AGT2, and the rest of the squad. And Seeknix as well, MVP performance on that Gideon, I have to feel. An incredible performance from him as well. That's going to do it from us and Falcon. What a banger game. What a way to end our day 2 of the last chance qualifiers. For the last time this weekend, it's back to R-Dog at the desk for the post-game breakdown.
Thank you so much, TJ and Falcon. Welcome back, everybody, to the desk. Congratulations to Space Cadets. You get to advance past the LCQ. GG's to the businessmen who, like what Falcon said, ultimately lost to the shop. Well done to the astronauts. That's OC, Pacifist, Seeknix, B-Craze, and AGT2. Well, Lake and Sai, what have we got to say about that last match?
I know everyone's talking about the tank TB and how it kind of performed that game, but there's one statistic that doesn't lie. He did do more damage than the Drongo as a full tank TB, so, you know, maybe there's some merit in the build, and maybe some players will give it a shot in their ranked games, but I think it really comes down to the mid lane performance. Seeknix kind of just popped off and did a lot of numbers, and we like numbers around here.
I'll be honest, when I saw Billy OC 0-3, I knew that he had that game in the bag. It's his most comfortable spot. It's where I see him most often. And then you saw the TB just start piling on these armor and MR items, and it's just exactly where Billy wanted him to be. I don't know if they're connected mentally and he got him to do everything to make it work, but amazing game for both teams, and I just think one team won the mental warfare.
Space Cadets did fantastic responding to the chaos that was Shopkeepers, but it still wasn't a highly polished game for both sides. Question for the two of you, what do the Space Cadets need to do? What do they need to work on to make it out of the Swiss stages January 11th?
They really just have to start grinding the game out, really learn from other teams and pull what they like from other teams and really just try to build upon that, because I think right now they're still trying to figure themselves out. This was kind of the first step in the right direction, so they got like roughly a month to get things together, so kind of see how it goes from there.
Yeah, the better and better teams you face, the faster and faster these games actually go. I think our average game time right now is like 25 minutes, and I've seen a lot of these games go on for a lot longer, so actually grinding out, like Blake said, get games under your belt, find out how to close out these games when there's actually available avenues for you to close out the games. And I think that they could be a real contender.
Congratulations again, Space Cadets. The astronauts make it out of LCQ. They get to join Sixth Sense, Nightshade, Enlightened as one of the 4 teams to advance to the main event. So we will see you guys January 11th and 12th for the Swiss stages here at PCC. And I'd like to take the time to just thank everybody for being a part of the PCC. Thank you so much for all the support. As you know, we are a community-based tournament here in Pred, and we don't get paid to put on this show. We're all just chill guys who play the game just like you, and we're always on a quest to find the best of the best here at the PCC. If you like what you're watching, love what you're seeing, and appreciate what we're doing here, please consider following us, subscribing to the channel, join us on Discord, we're on YouTube, Twitch, X, TikTok, Instagram, all the socials you could think of. We wouldn't be here without all of you supporting us. And unfortunately, we do have to say goodbye to Sai and Lakin. Any last words before we say goodbye to you both?
I'm just super excited to get to my quarters and see who I'm up against and see kind of how this all unfolds. I think it's going to be like a really like epic ending. So we'll see.
Yeah, going into January, I don't know who we're going to end up facing. I feel like these 4 teams that we got out of LCQ and the 4 teams we have waiting for them in Swiss, it should be some great games. So it's going to be a lot of homework that all of the top teams have to do and get all of these other teams, understand what they're looking to do. I'm just excited to play. I'm excited to actually be on screen instead of on camera.
Thank you so much, Lakin and Sai. It's an honor to do Desk with you both. My name is Ardog with the Triple Gs, and I'm your host here at the PCC. Thank you, PCC, for having me. Thank you, Choi, Stranger, Lance, F6, Salsa, Lake, Blue Jay, Dilo, Ego, TJ, Hot Sauce, Sai, Jolster, Wangle, Monarch, Shadow, Philly, Woofy, Falcon, and everybody else that I missed on screen and behind the scenes. Thank you so much to the players for playing. And of course, this wouldn't be possible without you all watching. Thank you so much for being a part of the PCC. There is, just like what these two have mentioned, there's a lot of work to be done. 12 teams have made it to the main event, January 11th and 12th, and we invite you to join us as we witness greatness just served on a platter only here at the PCC. Good luck, high five to you out there. Maybe we'll see each other on the battlefield. Thank you, and see you next time.